Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra Kane, and I am back once again with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner, um, for obvious reasons, right? But anyway, we are live. Last time we were not live, but we are live right now. The purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I said, big giant hello and welcome to YouTube and Facebook, the other side of the conversation. Still haven't figured out Twitter yet, but I will. You guys aren't just viewers, but you are participants because we do share the link so y'all can briefly come and chime in, give your opinion on whatever topic that we are discussing. All I ask is that you do please stick to the topic. And if you have something to say, just wait till another time when we are going to, be talking about that or somewhere close to it. Also ask that you show us your face if I do not already know who you are to make sure there's no shenanigans involved. Also, I like to say two big giant middle fingers to the mosquito that hopped on my forehead and bit me. Y'all see I got two bumps right here on my forehead. A mosquito, as I was working at my desk early this morning, guess it jumped on my big, that's a shame. You got a head so big and you don't even realize something's up there just having a party, right? Bit me on my hand, my thigh, the back of my leg, just tore me up. So anyway, I hope you
Now, you
guys.
also got to remember there's certain fruits you eat that will attract mosquitoes and it comes out of your pores and they just come and jump in. So you got to kind of be careful of that.
Yeah, so hopefully I smashed him up. I finally figured out what it was as he was biting on the back of my thigh. He's dead now. But anyway, Kim, how you doing? And Quita, Black America, what's going on? Brother Samuel, how are you? And Mike, nice. Donovan, what say you before we get started? Actually, we're going to talk about a Black therapist saying that women struggle with taking accountability. I saw it trending on the internet, and I was like, well, I guess that's what we're talking about. So anyway, Donovan, how you doing?
Yeah, it's a very needed conversation because unfortunately, it is true for a lot of women. It is true for a lot of women, and it's true for a few guys. So, but anyway, you guys see the banner at the bottom right there. As you guys know, when you make a donation through YouTube, they take 40% of whatever it is you donate. So the content creator doesn't necessarily get all that money. So if you really want to support and keep Demetra motivated to make these great videos and have this great discussion, those are certain ways down there that you can donate and kind of ensure that she gets all of your donation versus you guys giving it to the other man instead of the brother man and the sister and whatever the situation is there. Also, absolutely free. Come on in, hit that like button, and let us know you're here. Come on, you guys. Some of you guys will be like 600 people in the chat, and we only got like 300 likes. I mean, come on, we got to start hitting that like button. So let's start doing that. But Demetra, I would like to say on behalf of everybody, these are great topics and conversations you come up with. We do hope and suggest you continue to bring us more good conversation pieces.
Well, I think I appreciate that. As sometimes it is a struggle. Like, what are we going to talk about today? Try to keep it fresh and funky for y'all, but sometimes I miss the mark, and that's okay. I'll try again the next day. All right. Who else came up on here? Rodney, you say, I like the title. Let's see how the conversation goes. Yeah, keep your fingers crossed. Brina, how you doing? And Tisha K, what's going on with you? Rodney says, I'm in mental health. I'm a mental health therapist, so I'm really interested in this topic. All right, well, we gonna see. Big Rich, how you doing? And Brina says it's true for everyone because people lack self-awareness. Facts, not feelings. How are you doing today? Guess if y'all can hit the like button on the way in, I would love and appreciate you. All right, so I saw this on Twitter, and a lot of people were posting this. So I said, all right, let's see how it goes. So it's a Black therapist, and I'll let her tell y'all. Then we can have a conversation from there. So let me go ahead and put this up here. There it is. Okay. Here it goes.
To a male friend of mine the other day, and he told me that women don't apologize and women can't be held accountable. And I began to really think deeply about this idea. And one of the things that came across my mind is, in the last 9 months or so of me being in my private practice, I have myself experienced many women, whether they came in as a couple or they came by themselves, they very abruptly discontinued their therapy. And I started to reflect and really think, what was going on here? And I noticed that after I had to confront them about something, I had to bring to their attention something they were doing that wasn't contributing to the health of the relationship, they became very defensive and very, just very harsh, and they stopped coming. And even though the husband would continue to come, he made it very clear that, yeah, she won't apologize. She thinks you're wrong. She thinks you're taking my side. And I began to really reflect, like, oh my gosh, is it true that women don't apologize? Is it that women struggle with being held accountable? I'd love your thoughts on this. Me personally, I think it has to do with a person's level of emotional maturity. What do you think?
Okie dokie. Donovan, you want to go first? Let me actually get in the comments really quick and just acknowledge everybody else who came up in here. Kiki, how you doing? It says, oh boy, I see the title of the topic. Can somebody, anybody and everybody please explain to me what is everyone's obsession with Black women? Because we dope and dynamic and all of that. Donovan says, I have a degree in social and behavior science. Mike says this should be good. Yes, indeed. Antonio Para, how you doing? Thank you so much. And Facts Not Feeling says women are grown children. They will never take accountability. Men endanger their lives by waiting for women to take accountability. And Donovan, go ahead. I'll let you go. The last comment was yours, but go ahead.
Well, I'm going to agree because, like I said, see, now, right now, a lot of women that are in the chat are going to come on this page in a few minutes. They have already shut off their ears and their intellect because you can't say nothing about a Black woman, even if it's just your opinion, because it doesn't matter. See that? Look, she's rolling her eyes already. See what I'm talking about? Already. And in my experience, it is true. No, they can't take criticism. If it isn't positive criticism, they can't take it. It has to be positive. The body positivity stuff. All of it. You can't tell me I have to go to the gym. You got to take me as I am. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, ladies, unfortunately, it's true. You ask the average man, and they will say, absolutely, how many guys have experienced that when the woman is outright wrong and you criticize her and she can't be criticized? A bad mom could never be criticized, but a deadbeat dad, which isn't true, is always criticized. But men take it. See, but that goes back to the nature of what I've been saying about men and women. We are wired differently. Women go off emotion. Men go off of logic. It's just a true statement. I know ladies don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. Oh, I'm this, I'm that. Remember, Dimitri, when we were growing up and boys got yelled at school by the teachers or whatever, that was just the normal thing of being a boy. You're going to get yelled at all through life. Girls didn't necessarily get yelled at so much. But now when they want to be equal and stuff, it's funny how you want to be equal when it's good, but when it's bad, oh, I'm a woman. How could you hit me? But you're going to get in front of somebody, let's say a cop. You can't arrest me. I'm this and that. And then when the cop gets you on the ground, oh, I'm a woman. You got to be gentle with me. No accountability. It's just true. I'm sorry. In my opinion, it's true. It's damn true.
You like that epic eye roll? So yeah, I just kind of want to recap what she said. So she basically said women don't apologize. And she also said in the last 9 months of her practice, she's noticed that's kind of been a trend where, women do not want to take accountability. And she has a private practice. And she says that the women, guess quite a few women discontinued the therapy session when she confronted them. Now, I take issue with the word confront, but I'll keep moving. And she said the women got defensive. The husbands continued on with the therapy, but the women did not. So I'm not a therapist, but I have common sense. And I know that if she's used the word confront, when you are confrontational, yeah, a person is going to be on the defensive. Now, I went to 2 therapy sessions as an adult, and I know that therapists aren't supposed to be confrontational, right? They're supposed to try to get you to understand, right? Like draw things out of you. But if you're a therapist, and listen, I'm not saying, I'm just using her words. It's not even my words, right? But if you're up in there confronting people, yeah, somebody might get on the defensive, especially if we're there as a couple and we're supposed to be trying to figure out what's wrong with us. And then you're saying you're confronting the woman. Yeah, I can see how she would be on the defensive. I'm not saying that she was on the defensive because she was right. Maybe she was on the defensive because you confronted her, right? Like when I go to a therapist, and let's say if I was going to a couples therapist, the last thing I want her to be up in there is confronting me. Now, I wouldn't have a problem with her saying, okay, Mrs. Demetra, Bob, I don't know, is that going to be my husband's name? I don't know. Bob feels this way about
Bob, short for Raheem. Go ahead.
Yeah. Bob feels this way, and do you understand what he's saying? Like if you're coming at me like that, but if you're like, well, you just don't understand, you're wrong. I'm telling you, listen. When I hear somebody saying they're confrontational, that's what I hear. Like, what you need to understand is this: you tell him you're sorry, right?
But the message. Forget how they do it. The message.
I'm just taking the lady's word from what she said to us, okay? I'm one of those people, I like to really listen to what people are saying, okay? Now, whether people come back or not, I don't know. I take her word for it. But she said in the last 9 months that she's experienced this. So is this a phenomenon in the last 9 months that something has gotten into the drinking water where the women are not wanting to take accountability? Like, I don't know. Maybe she's a new therapist. But women don't apologize, and in her experience, maybe not so much. But I'm gonna give my whole opinion as we go throughout the show. But I want to jump in the comment section, and then I'm gonna drop the link. All right, okay. So I said hi to Antonio, but I'll say it again. Hello, and Mr. Brian, how are you doing? Yes, it is Tell It Tuesday, Mike. And Brother Samuel said the brother just told me a story last night that a brother confronted his wife and got ready for a battle and to defend his point. However, she agreed with him and it completely threw him off. She stole his thunder. I'm sorry. In Black America, say all women are crazy. Men date the crazy you can deal with. Exactly. I like that. And Ronnie says part of the therapeutic process is confrontation. It's about change. It's not supposed to be a kumbaya session. I understand it's supposed to be a kumbaya session, but confrontational, if you're really expecting people to heal and, to get the message, you confronting people. Because I'm telling you, if a man is bringing his wife into a therapy session and because he feels like there's something wrong, the last thing she wants to feel like, let's keep it a buck. Last thing she wants to feel like is she's being ganged up on by him and the therapist. The therapist, I have a conflict resolution certificate. Okay, so I do know a little bit about it. I know that the therapist, they're supposed to draw stuff out of you, but they're also supposed to remain neutral, right? That's what I thought. I could be wrong. Kiki, you say, no, I'm serious. Is it that talking about sisters brings the views and the revenue? For some people, that's not why I do it per se, but yeah, of course, that's why a lot of people do it. Like I said, well, who else they gonna talk about? They can't keep Black women out their mouths. Hello, Easy, how are you doing today? And Trina, how you doing? You say 9 months. I'm gone. He says, he's MFT since 2007, and I think it's psychologist, doctor of psychology since 2003. I think it was, or 2013. I think he meant to say. I'll put that up so y'all can see what I'm talking about. And you say lack of responsibility is basically equal with the higher weight on men not taking responsibility. 55, 45%. All right. How you doing, Andre? And Brina says the men needed it more. Just kidding, Donovan. All right. Black American says husbands keep coming because she's fine. Yeah, she's a nice looking woman. You might be on to something. Hello, Jan Michael. You are not late. You are right on time. And Trina says confrontation happens in one older modality of therapy, the use traditional REBT. Girl, you speaking above my head now. So you're basically saying that's the way it used to be. Back in the day, it used to be you'd be confrontational. I couldn't see how being confrontational will be a good form of therapy. But like I said, that's not my field. Mr. Brian says confronting the issue. Okay, got you. So maybe that's what she meant. She's confronting the issue. Donovan, please. You said tell the truth, make the devil run. All right, Kiki says, no, it's a true statement. Donovan, how do you conclude that men are not emotional and most women are abused and even unalive because men don't control their emotions? Y'all brothers need to wake up your minds. One minute y'all are making yourselves appear emotionless, and the next y'all say we act as if y'all don't have emotions.
All right.
Which one
Somebody
is it?
who's taking behavioral and social science, it is a biological fact. Men intellect rolls around logic. That is a fact. Women are more emotional. Women move by their emotion, how they feel. That's when you talk to a man, he always says, I think. You talk to a woman, she usually starts with, I feel. That's just a fact. That's how I come to that conclusion. It is a fact. Most guys, if I talk to these guys right now, even though I'm saying something that might piss them off, they don't go off how they feel. They go off of logic. Does Donovan have a gun? Does Donovan have a knife? Is this going to be a fight? That's how men think, and that's just how we're programmed. That's just a fact. See, and that's the thing. Matter of fact, today it was on a YouTube website. Please don't act right, and I'm in agreement with what he's saying. You women expect men to think and be like you guys, and that isn't how it is. We are different species, same mammals, but I've been saying it for a long time. You women want men to think like women, and it's not going to happen. That is why we're logical, you're emotional. You put those two people together, they form a family. Because what I lack and what you lack, we bring it together and we thrive.
Got you. I'm just reading some of these comments. I'll go back to yeah, Mike. He says she could have used another word other than confront. It still doesn't take away the point that she's making. No, and no doubt. But I'm one of those people. I kind of listen with every for the most part what people are saying, and I think confront is kind of a it's an arduous word. I would imagine in therapy. Teacher says, I won't paint all women with the same brush, but I will say I'm going through this right now with my brother's baby mama. She did something foul and it caused problems in the family. That chick has yet to apologize or admit she was wrong for what she did. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna just keep reading. I'm opening up the link. I'm not gonna give my opinion just yet. And Andre, you said session 1 therapist gang up on him, giving him all the assignments to work on the relationship. Okay, and you say session 2, like session 1, accept the assignment, go to her to improve the relationship. Session 3 doesn't even happen. What? How you doing, Sagittarius goddess? I hope all is well with you. Yeah, Buckhorse, he gone. He is gone. Google gonna be sick of him making all those doggone. Oh, I see he came back. I got him though. But how you doing, Buckhorse? And Norris, you say when I'm wrong, and when I'm right, I'm right. You said, and when I'm right, I'm wrong. Really? Entree, how are you doing today? I'll let that be between you and Donovan. I know he's probably, not feeling so well after that.
It was a conspiracy. I've never been a Dak Prescott fan. I don't think he's the answer at quarterback. But how the hell do you pay all these people this money and we can't even get out of the wild card round? It's a damn shame.
Yeah, sounds like. You also say black and white TV, aka men, Technicolor TV, aka women.
Right. We're two different types of TV. Same thing, but we on a different frequency.
Our daddy, how you doing? He says all black people need to be held accountable because we focus on beating each other down instead of confronting the elephant in the room. I totally agree.
Accountability for black women, to hold them accountable, that is 50% of the problem. Black women will not take accountability. I'm out here doing these kids by myself, You're getting child support, you're getting, let's say you get a guy that's doing half of the thing. He won't even give no Christmas presents. Well, you took him to child support that says he doesn't have to now. He's paying child support. You can't have it both ways. Like I said, it's accountability. They want us to think like them, and it's not real men. It's not going to happen.
Y'all want me to open up the link? Y'all want me to open up the link? Say yes, a thumbs up or something. I'll open up the link, and we can have this conversation. As I said, please have it pertain to what we talking about. And I need to see your face if I have not seen you before. And Roberto or whatever your name is, I'm not gonna let you up. So don't even try it. If you remotely look like a Roberto, you ain't coming up here. So I'm just gonna put it on out there. Okay, so y'all want the link open? I got you. I got you.
And real quick, I'm reading Kiki's. Kiki, you know what I've noticed? And again, I have a degree in behavioral and social science. So I'm kind of seeing something. I've noticed that every time, not every time, but a lot of times when you make a comment, you're always relating stuff to men attacking women. And I just have a question. Is that something that you've experienced a lot, or a loved one that you know of has experienced a lot? Because you keep bringing that up, because it's almost like you're saying every black man is abusive. I mean, have you watched the movie? I mean, what is it? Because to me, that's a small issue in regards to a population of people. So maybe you can clarify that.
All right, so let me get to these comments. Okay, so the link is hot and popping. All right, Brother Sammy says, I would answer Kiki like this: in both there is emotional and rational, and when we haven't developed our intellect, the physical is relied on because rulership is in his nature. Okay.
Right. And let me read this for Kiki, the last part of it. She says, in regards to an attack, that's incomprehensible. Okay, she says, I get the scientific explanation, but that doesn't mean that's what is being lived up to. Okay, let me answer. Okay, you basically answered your own question. You know what the scientific answer is in general. Now, why does a certain person attack a certain person? All kinds of variables. Why can't women shut up when a man tells them to shut up? All different types of reasons. So, I mean, what more do you need to understand? It's almost like you're searching for an answer to fit your narrative. When you've already admitted the scientific thing is this: men think this way, women think that way. That's it.
I got you. All right, Kim, I'm gonna bring you up. Let me get to the last of these comments really quick. Ronnie says the first session is always about getting to know the person and build a rapport. Confrontation is after the therapeutic bond is built. You shouldn't come in as Debo, but a person who's gained facts, not feelings. He said the solution is to fix women's accountability. Is simple: take away all their responsibility outside of housework. Choose. You said, I don't know what that was.
A man, a husband.
A man for them. Okay. Or choose for them a husband that will provide for them. That's it. Problem solved. All right. Hello, Ashley. Okay. Kim, how you doing?
Hello, how are y'all?
We are fabulous. What's on your mind?
Well, I think some women do take accountability. Now, I'll be the first somebody that say in the beginning of my marriage, I did not take accountability. It could be the most part too, because we did marry young. So this might be 23 years for us. Oh, wow. So a few years ago, I did start taking accountability. So I can go to him and say, hey, I was wrong on how I said that. I was, so I apologize on how I looked at you, or, but I am one of the ones who do take accountability. So I'll tell anybody, if you want any kind of relationship to work, whether if it's family, marriage, or whatever, you do have to own up to when you either said something wrong or when you done something wrong. You have to own up to it. So the narrative that, women don't take accountability, I wouldn't group all women together, just like, you don't group all men together, but I am one of the ones who do take accountability. And, sometimes it don't, depending on the situation, it may be a few hours, and I'll be like, okay, you made me mad, but I'm apologizing because I know I was wrong on how I said that and how I handled it. But I do think women take, me for the most part, I do take accountability on my actions in a relationship. with my husband. And even with family, you know, but most times, most families don't really tell me that because I kind of be upfront. Uh, you know, so I do have women in the family. They'll ask Kim, hey, how you make this marriage work? How y'all, you know, be together so long, you know? And like I tell them, hey, you got to know when to be quiet and you got to know when to talk, when not to talk, you know. And even, you know, my pastor, he done retired, but he used to always say when he used to, you know, preach and, you know, and teach on marriage, he say, you know, somebody got to apologize, you know, whether you wrong or you're right. Somebody got to apologize and be the bigger person. And as I kept growing in the marriage, I was like, you know what, that makes sense. Somebody gotta apologize. And I noticed that he will always apologize to me first. And I was like, he apologized, but I feel like he doing it just to do it. He ain't acknowledging anything for real. You know, I'm like, okay. But I had to look at it like, you know, in order to live in peace, and you know, you have to acknowledge when you're wrong. And I can tell anybody, Kim do, you know, I'll be the first somebody to get upset, but I apologize always to my husband when I'm in the wrong, you know. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Number one, I love that accent. Is that Alabama? Is that Alabama?
Yes, I'm right down here. Yeah, I'm in Alabama.
Yeah. I used to be stationed down in Montgomery. But anyway, I picked that accent up immediately. But let me ask you this. You're married to a Southern gentleman, most likely, and a lot of people down in the South are traditional by aspect. I'm not saying Southern men aren't you know, hostile or they're like aggressive. You know, I was born in the South. Most of my Southern people, they're kind of laid back guys. So it's like, hey, I'm just kind of like, hey, whatever. Hey, I have no problem saying I'm sorry and things of that nature. Would you say that there has been a fault, especially with our women, especially with the fathers, telling them to, you know, get education? And, you know, it's like they were given the wrong information. Not saying education is wrong, but like, it seems to me the younger generation, the information that they were given has made them angry within itself, to where it's like, you know, you got to get it on your own as a woman. You got to do this on your own. You know, and if I had all that burden, if I was a woman having all that to deal with, I would just be angry in nature because I'm doing everything and I'm still got to deal with, you know, traditional value, this, that.
So, what was the question?
Well, exactly. Well, that's my question. Would you think that there's a problem with the way the message that we gave our young girls, raising our young girls, with get your education, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this? Because a lot of these newer generation women, if you really look at them, they're angry off the rip. You know, in general, it's like they don't have time. You know, don't tell me nothing. This, that. They're going to school. They're working. They're raising the kids. They're doing all this stuff. So, would you think that that's a problem of why a lot of sisters and women in general are maybe stressed out?
Well, I can say now, I'm 43. So with me growing up, I did used to hear stuff like, you know, you really can't just always depend on a man. I'm not gonna lie. I heard that growing up. And I came from a household where my mom at one point was married to my dad, but they got divorced when I was real young. So so you kind of see that. And I mean, I heard it from my mom. I got to do this by myself. I got to do that by myself. But I'm just gonna be honest. Me personally, growing up, I always wanted that man for me. And that's just me. And I saw the things that my mom had to, you know, deal with, go through, but I also saw the anger from her. And I can only go by what, you know, like on, even though that's my mom, is still like on the outside looking in, because at the end of the day, even though that's my dad, I'm not the one in a relationship with him, you know. And even with my other brothers and sisters, you know, like it's 9 of us. So she got 5 with my dad, but then the others are, you know, they have other dads. And I'm saying to myself, like, but it's a lot of stuff that I see with my mom. She won't take accountability. I'm just gonna be honest, because, and it could be the age thing, and it could be, you know, how she, you know, probably grew up, or she, you know, she probably saw certain things, you know, growing up. But I can honestly say that my mom, even, you know, she would not take it's that with me and my sisters, I'm laughing because we was literally just talking about this last week. Because one of my sisters, she's getting ready to finish up dealing with well, she's gonna be, I guess, like dealing with like a social worker or whatever, you know, helping with kids. And we was talking about, and I was telling her that we was talking about Kurt Franklin's situation. And the first person popped in my head was my mom, and how Kurt Franklin's mom was in denial and she didn't want to own up to anything. And that's like, oh, I said, that's mom. That's my mom right there, like that, you know. And I was like, so when I saw my sister, I said, did y'all see that Kurt Franklin? And then my sister that's going to school, she said, mama. I said, exactly. And so, you know, you can see it, but I always have wanted a family. And I always, and even like with me and my husband, we only had one child, but we never wanted her to go through what we went through, or what her grandparents went through. So, well, like with her, she's 22. She's still here at home. So it's like, I'm not finna, you know, you're not finna just get pushed out there to try to struggle. So I mean, her dad, my husband, he always say, Deja, you know, you want a good man, you know, you want a man that's gonna be able to take care of you. And when I'm talking to her, I always say, Deja, you see how your dad to get up and go to work? You want somebody that's gonna get up and go to work. So
Absolutely. So, Biko, how are you doing? And welcome. Oh, maybe
I
he'll
think
come
we hit
back.
the wrong button. Yeah, he'll come back.
Yeah,
He'll come back.
as an accident, he'll be back. Al, I'm just looking at the comments here. Facts Not Feeling says, "What a good woman like you only have one." I think you meant, why does it only a good woman like you only have one child? And
Because her and her husband only had one.
hey, he always was you know what, a lot of people always assume it was me. You know, you ain't getting him no more kids. And that's not true. He will always say, hey, if it happens, it happens, but we ain't trying.
right. All right.
So,
There's Biko. I hope he's gonna come back. Maybe he's having some connection issue. There you go. Are you there? Dear brother Biko, you there?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we hear you now. How are you today?
He's getting there. Told you it's got to be the system.
Uh, yeah, it's probably the connection. Sometimes it's belabored depending on your internet connection. Um, and Mr. Yadig, how you doing? He says admitting is a factor of accountability. Yeah, I think it's something on his end. Ashanda, how are you doing today? He says, I got a brother named Biko whose baby mama name is Kim. Ha ha. What a coincidence.
Now, and I put in the chat, one of my all-time favorite Black leaders is a man named Stephen Biko of South Africa, who led the Enlightenment movement in South Africa. And if you guys watch the movie, it starred Denzel Washington, Cry Freedom was based on Steve Biko. So you guys get a chance to watch that.
And we were in South Africa. We actually visited, some of the places he were. the jail cell that he was in. And so, yeah, we learned a lot about him in the movement. So that was very moving to be there. Easy says, what about trauma? When you are traumatized, young or older, it will follow you into childhood and adulthood when not dealt with. You're absolutely right. That's kind of something I learned as an adult, that we are all still in some way, shape, or form dealing with the traumas that we experienced as children. And we just never really, got help for, or even where I've been enlightened to, well, you do these things because of maybe this that happened to you when you were a child, or, something like that. And so when we become cognizant of it, it's up to us to try to deal with it. So that, because when we don't deal with trauma, they become triggers, right? Certain things, whatever it is, can trigger us to act out or do or say or whatever the case is. Now, let me put the link back up in here in case somebody wants to come up here.
Here's the funny thing that we talk about trauma, and a lot of people don't know that. This is why I'm on you guys so much about being real about our situation as Black people here in this country. It's nice to make ourselves feel good. Ooh, we ain't suffering. We doing this, we doing that. Nah, let's be real. There was a study done about 15 or 20 years ago. Palestinian people in the Middle East, the Palestinians and the Arabs, whatever, these people are living in a military type style of living, where they're under PTSD, under a constant barrage, because they're seeing shootings, they're seeing invasions, they're seeing their houses being bulldozed. These people are being traumatized. That same exact study, they did it here in the United States, and they found out that Black people in general, because of the neighborhoods we live in and the trauma that we experience of being Black in this country every day, we suffer just as much PTSD and harm as those Middle Eastern people do, and children that grow up in that type of environment, just as much. So I believe it does have something to do with it.
It has a lot to do with it. Let me say this, Andre. I see I'm making a lot of comments about communicating, and guess what? I have a degree in communication. You say how to lose at communicating. Communicate to accommodate or avoid communication altogether. Compromise, you win 50%, but you lose 50. You still lose 50% of the time. Seek collaboration and win. I would agree with that. But as I always teach, a lot of times people think that communication is about talking. It's actually more about listening, decoding the message from the person that's sending. That's the communication model. But I hear what you're saying toward the end. Compromise, you win 50-50, say win, lose. I get it. But sometimes it ain't always about, because this is how I feel about things. If you're one of those people, it's like, okay, I'm just going to say, I agree just for the sake of argument. No, if it's not right, then don't agree. But the thing is, we have to learn how to communicate. Like if you do something to me or I do something to you, I'm not going to just say, well, all right, I'm all right with it, right? Because I don't want to argue. And I hate that. I hate when people say, I don't want to argue. I just, it's like, first of all, is this an argument or are we having a discussion? To me, an argument is when we both get, nobody's listening, right? But a discussion or a debate is a give and take. Okay, here's my point of view. Here's your point of view. And let's see if we can meet somewhere in the middle. Or how about if you're mature? Because I do agree with the therapist said toward the end. If you are mature, then you're able to say, you know what? I was wrong. Now that you put it that way, I was wrong. Or somebody says, hey, honey, I don't like that you came home at 3 a.m. the other night. That's not unlike you. What am I supposed to say? Well, it just happened once. I'm not going to say nothing because then we're going to get to arguing. And then what happens when that person, he or she, does it again? Then it turns into an argument when you should have just said, hey, honey, is everything all right? First of all, I'm glad that you made it home. However, you coming home at 3 o'clock in the morning is not like you. What happened? Now, if he says, I was just hanging out with the guys or whatever, okay, fine, whatever. But can you, let me in on it? But I don't suggest we just let things go because we don't argue, because it's the equivalent of sweeping stuff under the rug. And eventually that pile gets so big to where people start to trip over it. So it's like the win-win 50-50 thing. Yeah, small stuff. Okay. I said I wanted French fries and you made potatoes. Okay. We're not going to, die on that hill. Baby, I got you tomorrow night. I'm gonna make you what you want. But major stuff, no, ain't no 50-50 agreeing. We need to get to the bottom of it so we don't it doesn't happen again. That's just my really unprofessional spin on that. Let me get to these comments really quick. Black American, then I'm gonna get at you because I already know. And Fly Guy, I'm glad you said I was blessed that you didn't encounter childhood trauma. And Ashonda says trauma causes many of us to get into relationships based on trauma bonding and not holistic love, admiration, and respect. I totally agree with you. And I think we need to be cognizant of that we don't get with people just because it's like, you know, you went through some things and I went through some things, and then we feel like we need to go through some things together. You know, let's heal. Let's heal as individuals so that we can be in healthy relationships, whether they're romantic relationships, friendships, family, whatever it is. You also say, my older brother's name is Andre. So he's talking to Andre. And Kiki says, yes, our community suffers from PTSD. I was reading an article about that. I believe it. Oh, absolutely. I mean, PTSD and it's still being exacted upon us to this day. And Donovan says, you are traumatized when you are raised in an environment that is poor, violent, and hostile. Just a fact. Yep. Exactly, Fly Guy. Listening, that's a huge part of the communication. But people think, oh, I need to do all the talking. No, you need to do most of the listening. Brother Abdul, welcome back. How you doing? He says, did y'all hear about the 19-year-old black girl that was hung over in Florida? I did not hear anything about that.
Yes, and automatically the police ruled it a suicide. Just like that.
Is that the one where she's allegedly? Oh, I saw something about it, but I didn't.
Yeah, the police said, oh, it was a suicide. Kind of reminds you of what happened out here in Lancaster.
Yeah, it's happened quite a bit. And Kim, and thank you so much for coming on as well. He says, when something is bothering you, that's when you should have a conversation about it. Yeah, don't sweep stuff under the rug. I mean, a lot of times we do it to appease the other person. How they gonna get mad if I say something? So we need to have a conversation about it. If you get mad, then figure out a way to inculcate what I'm saying to you without you, especially if I'm not coming at you all spicy. Just figure out a way to inculcate what I'm saying so we can come to a happy medium or understanding or something. But sweeping the stuff under the rug, we ain't gonna be doing all that. Virgo and Al, how you doing? By the way, I see you up in here. Virgo Flower, how you doing? He says, right. Rodney says, I suggest all Googling epigenetic trauma and Black people. Lots of studies done on it. Okay. In fact, my feeling says, we as Blacks must understand what's happening to the Palestinians will happen to us in America. Eventually, we will pull ourselves together and make a U-turn or we're finished. Okay. And Kiki says, but sometimes, you have to tell people they're right, even when they're wrong, just to let peace reign. It works for me. Yeah, I agree with that if it's something small, but if it's something big, I'm not going to go to bed at, telling you right when you clearly wrong, especially if it's something that you shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that's when we know we grown, right? When we're able to say, all right, let's have this conversation. Can we have a conversation? I love you. This is coming from a place of love. But we need to have this conversation because I want to make sure that you're respected by me and I want to make sure you respect me, But like I said, if it's small potatoes, like literally, then yeah, okay, you're right. Whatever.
Case study, Demetra, case study. When me and Deanna get into it, I am always right.
She would tell a whole different story, okay?
But notice I never give up my position.
Yeah, you tap out eventually, though. Dwayne, how you doing? He says most people that have been in a long-term relationship know if their spouse is doing something they have no business doing. Yeah, the why you little spidey senses go. And Brina says, let me get the buzzer ready for Black America. He coming up right now. I know he just rubbing his hands together. And Andre says, DK is a negotiator. I'm gonna need her when I buy my next truck. I absolutely am. That's actually some of the work that I do. I negotiate. I'm pretty good at it, aren't I, Donovan? Donovan, I done got you a lot of money back. I'm the muscle.
Very true, but that's because you send your daughter over there to kind of convince them in the Godfather style that it's in their best interest to.
She's my backup. Second. She's crazy. Al, boy, he is a stickler for grammar and everything. Says, please, listener, don't say, every other word. You might be talking to me because sometimes I do that. Brother Sammy says to confirm Donovan's earlier statement on our basic natures. Dr. Africa said some men Say what you feel, what you feel first and think second. And women, tell what you think first and feel second, to better communicate. Yeah, I would agree with that, because women, we be like, you mother, and be like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Mila Suka 7 says, as usual, Demetra attacking Black, successful, educated women, envious much, I wonder. Virgo Flowery says, your conversation just needs to have respect. That's all. Deal with the issue. And Kiki says, oh, wow. I don't typically agree with facts, not feelings, but he has a point. Black people have a great chance of becoming the American version of Palestinians. That's a scary thought. Okay.
See, right there. I'm gonna stop her. I like her statement. I like what she said. But see, this is the delusion we have. We're gonna become. We are already there. Look at what's going on to us here in the United States. We're being displaced. All that stuff that's going on. Now you compare what's happening to us right now to what's going on in the Palestinians before this invasion stuff. That's exactly what the Israelis were doing. They were moving them out of home settlements.
Okay, but let me say this, y'all. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm personally not having. I'm purposely and on purpose, I guess I should say, not having that conversation about Israel and Palestine. I have my reasons for doing it. I just don't want to get into it. And for those of you guys who are educated on what's going on, then we're gonna leave it right there until further notice. But we're just not gonna get into it right now. I'm very well abreast of what's going on. I go to bed watching it on the news, and I wake up and I watch it throughout the day. I just kind of don't want to have that conversation for a bunch of reasons. And we'll talk about it one day, but just not today.
Yeah, my thing is we're already there in regards to how we're being treated.
Yeah, but Kiki's entitled to her opinion as well. Just like you tell her you entitled to yours, she's entitled to hers. And let's see here. Oh yeah, yes. All facts, not feelings. Trust me, I'm watching. All right, Black America, what's on your mind, baby?
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing?
We're doing well.
All right. So you were saying that the therapist used the word confront, and you had a problem with that. But you just said if somebody came in the house at, let's say, 3 o'clock in the morning, you're going to question them down about what they were doing. That's a form of confronting somebody, isn't it?
No. Confrontate. Listen, when you confront somebody, that is a very austere form of approaching somebody, whether it's verbally or physically, right? Austere meaning hard. But me questioning is not a confrontation. I'm just trying to gauge an understanding. Confrontation is, you don't be coming in this house at the 3 o'clock in the morning. Who do you think you are coming up in here like that? You know better. That's confrontation. But confrontation is me standing over the stove with some bubbling hot grits and saying, hey, honey, is there a reason you came in the house at 3 in the morning? That's a difference. But when we confront somebody, it's austere. It puts people on the defensive. So that's why I said, that was her words, not mine. She used the word confront. So when you think of confrontation, it does put people on guard. It's just a fact, right? If Donovan, I came to confront you about something your cat did in my yard, I know you already. If I said, sucker, I'm tired of picking up your cat stuff in my yard. What you gonna do is come get this cat stuff up. The first thing you're gonna say is, I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds to remove yourself up off my porch. Now, if I say, hey, Donovan, how you doing, good neighbor? I'm doing well. And, I just want to have a conversation with you about your cats. I know that cats are gonna do what they gotta do, but do you mind every once in a while just coming over and checking to see if your cat, did something in my yard, and if you could pick it up? Because I'm kind of queasy when it comes to that kind of stuff. And you're probably gonna receive that better. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about.
Wait, you don't like your yard fertilized? That's a part of nature. What's wrong with you?
Right. You see what I'm saying? So, so it's a way to have a conversation with someone without being confrontational. Confrontation puts people on guard. It just does. And if I'm wrong and you confront me, then I'm going to be like, okay, hold on, sucker. Y'all know how sisters do. First of all, what you not going to do You know what I'm saying? So, Black America.
Yeah, I was just waiting until you finished to tell you that you're full of crap and that you're wrong. And I'm gonna tell you why. Anytime you question or ask me anything about what I'm doing, you are confronting me, especially as a woman, especially as my woman, because then you're also not you're questioning my authority, so you're confronting me about what I'm doing. It's just the fact of the matter. Um, you don't agree with that?
No. I mean, because what you don't want her to ask you nothing.
As far as what you're doing, no, I don't. What? No.
Why not?
If I
If you don't mind me asking.
if I'm going fishing, let's say I'm going fishing with a fishing boat, and I'm saying, hey, babe, we're gonna be out on the fishing boat all day, and you say, okay, and I come home at midnight. I thought you were going fishing all day. Yeah, I did. Why are you asking? Why are you questioning me about what I was doing as if you couldn't call me or something of that nature? Posing a question. I'm just telling you from a man's point of view. A woman asking them anything about what they're doing is a form of confrontation.
See, I hear what you're saying, Al. I'm getting my Google for the big old words you're using. See, I get what you're saying as far as her questioning you. You know, you told her where you was gonna be. I mean, I think that's a little extreme. If you already told her where you were gonna be, then yeah, that's probably the extra line of questioning. It's probably not needed from her. So I agree with you on that. But I'm talking about situations where it maybe is unusual and she has the right to question you, like, hey, what's going on? This is unlike you to come in here at 3 a.m. What's going on? That's not confrontation. That's her just trying to gauge an understanding. Like, is this going to be a regular thing, or are you out there doing something that requires you to be out there at 3 a.m? Because the only thing that's open at 3 a.m. is Denny's and somebody's legs. You know what I mean? So, are you at Denny's? But you know, without her actually saying that, but she's asking, hey, you know, what's going on? You'd have a problem with that?
I personally would. Me personally, I would. Because as long I feel, okay, and Donovan may have and the other men may have a certain thing. As long as I'm taking care of everything, making sure you're straight, and I come home safe and unharmed, there's no harm, no foul. So, you questioning me about what I'm doing, that to me, that's kind of confrontation. I wouldn't dig that at all.
Can you ask her about what she's doing?
As far as what?
Anything.
What do you mean?
She out
Like
there
a man?
she out there basket weaving with her homegirls, and she, you know, told her she was gonna be out doing that, and she come home at 3 a.m. Do you get to question her if she was out there still basket weaving?
Uh, Basically, I don't really care what women do. I mean, that's the problem is men chasing women around and women trying to control their men. Women trying to say, you're my man, and guys running around for their one girl that they have with a flashlight. It makes stuff all muddled and people not being honest, very honest with each other. And so that there needs to be no questions. It's like if me and you were dating, I could, hey, can you unlock my phone? I don't need to hide what I'm doing from you, because whatever I'm doing, and if it has something to do with you, I'm going to be honest about it. So, but you asking me extra questions. If I come home at 3 o'clock in the morning and I've been out drinking Sprite all night, I would feel like you're confronting me about it. I don't know. Donovan, what do you think about it?
I kind of understand what you're trying to say. It's like you're in a relationship, and basically you're doing what it is you need to do in regards to your part of that relationship, and you shouldn't have to be questioned. Because I kind of feel the same way when I'm out there doing what I need to do, because, you know, I don't cheat, I don't believe in all that stuff. I shouldn't be questioned in what I do. It's kind of like what we say in the military. You remember that from the movie A Few Good Men. I take offense at a person who questions how I provide the freedom. You know what I mean? Or whatever that thing was. And so I think that's kind of where I'm coming from in regards to being questioned on you know, what I need to do to be a man, or how to provide, or things like that. So I see what you're saying, but as we see from her body language, Demetria has a different opinion. But again, women think a certain way, men think a certain way.
Yeah, I think it's a huge problem, and it does women, especially like Demetria. You know, you guys always think that you need to have a comment, or we don't want to talk to you, especially when a guy wants to talk to you. A guy will ask you something, or pose a question to you, or something like that. We don't want to talk to you and have general conversations. I know you do. You want a guy still walking around in a zoot suit and some hard bottom shoes. Well, those days are super long gone. I mean, if you get a guy that's like 60, 65, you might get that. You know what I mean? But a man in his 50s, you know, to mid 50s to even late 50s, you just not going to get that type of thing, because times have changed. And once again, you guys think that times have changed so much that you give them pushback. The women of old days never gave as much pushback. If they weren't happy, the men weren't happy either in the relationships. You know, I was speaking to somebody earlier and said, you know, women was like, well, we get tired. I say, you don't think a man get tired of working the same job for 44 years to provide for his family? You know, going in and going to work day in and day out to provide for their kids. Yeah, men get tired of that. But we don't get to stop, just like a woman says, well, I don't want to have sex no more. Well, I can't get no, you can't have blowjobs no more, but you still got to pay these bills and take this garbage out and put gas in this car. And you can't stop that, but we're going to stop having sex altogether. So it comes along those same lines is what I'm saying.
So you talking about the women back in the day, they didn't you talk as much or whatever, or ask questions. I mean, that may be true, but you heard you know, the milkman, haven't you? You heard about the milkman dropping off milk more than once a day, haven't you? I mean, I'm just saying, y'all acting, yes, there were some women who was like, I just don't have nothing to say. Well, she ain't talking to you. She's talking to the mailman, the milkman, or whoever is coming by when you at work talking to Big Booty Betty.
But those people were still married for 40, 50, and 60 years. You see what I mean? So it's a huge difference in the milkman coming by doing whatever he doing with Big Mama, and oh yeah, that ain't your real brother, that's your play cousin now, and all of that. And you know, people talking about the grandpa had kids all around the corner or down the street. Those are complete different things. They were still a family unit.
Yeah,
and
but you know what, though? Y'all, you know, often hear men talk about, oh, y'all watch The Color Purple and black women ain't been the same since. Where y'all getting this information from that women just didn't question men back then? Where y'all getting that from? I mean, your grandmama, I don't know where you getting it from.
I never said the questioning. I'm talking about the fact that they leave the whole relationship, break up the family, you know, and then with everybody is now on the struggle bus, and everybody's worrying, living from pillar to post, and trying to figure out what's going on. That's where our community is at now, because the women don't stay with the men. If a man is beating you within an inch of his life, yeah, sure, leave him. But all of the other things that can be worked out, they should try to be worked out. It's not that It's like you're a very confrontational woman. You would be questioning a man down from sunrise.
What makes you think I'm a
There,
confrontational woman?
there you go, right there. You just did it. Can I ask you a question? Let me go ahead and interject myself. Not only this is what I'm talking about. You guys, everything has a question behind. And there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. But everything that you guys think or want to be like, it has a question behind it. It should be like that. I mean, me personally, I don't know. I'm just one guy. A bunch of other guys, has a different opinion.
We couldn't hardly hear you. I said that was the ancestors. Ashonda, you say the women in the old days were miserable in silence. Today they are miserable out loud. I say speak your piece or die in grief. You know what? Hold on.
I'm going to disagree with that. And me and Ashonda were just talking about that in the chat. I'm going to disagree. These women were women of their time. So they weren't the only one living like that. The majority of the women lived a certain way. They stayed home. The man made the money, whatever the deal is. We got to stop antiquating how we live today to how they lived back in the days.
Well, tell that to him because he's the one that brought it up.
No. I get that. But I'm talking about in regards to this narrative that all these women were miserable. I don't care what time you're living. Ain't nobody going to be that miserable and stay for 40, 50 years. It's just not going to happen. Wait. Here's my point. Again, I'm equating how it is today versus yesterday. So that's what I'm saying. I can't arbitrarily say that because they were people of their time. And I just hear women always take that narrative and do all that. But here's the funny thing. Women today are more liberated, more sexually liberated. They can do and be just about anything they want to be, but yet they are the most miserable of any time in history. Explain that.
See, the problem with the statement back in the day, and your homeboy brought that up, so don't gloss over that. Your homeboy right here brought it up, which is why we even talking about it in the first place. But a lot of times people like to oversimplify. Well, back in the day, which it wasn't even there for your own self. Back in the day, women just shut up and women just took it. You're oversimplifying it because that's not the case. Yeah, there was some women that, there's a saying women should be meek, and I agree. Well, meek, but not weak. And y'all want women to be weak. Y'all don't want her to be weak because a woman worth her weight is going to have some questions, especially if her man ain't acting right. He, is doing things he ain't supposed to be doing by her in the household. She going to have some questions. Only a weak woman will keep her mouth shut. And then we can even put a man in that situation. A weak person will keep their mouth shut as somebody is, disrespecting or doing whatever. But the women back in the day, y'all don't know what that woman was doing. Yes, she, like a lot of people said, maybe she didn't have a job or whatever. She knew when, to say stuff or when not to say stuff. But even if she didn't say a word, that don't mean she was happy. And then like somebody else said, brother, let me finish. And just like somebody else said, why do y'all want a woman to be miserable? Why would you want to subjugate a woman to the point of misery? Because you the man, you should be able to just say whatever. She's supposed to take it. Like most people, I would think, especially today, I do. I want to be in a relationship where I'm valued. I'm able to ask a question. You're able to ask a question. Other than that, as I say, get yourself a glorified blow-up doll. Sit her in the corner until you're done with her or until you need her again.
Right. But see, my point is, everybody's speaking for everybody. My grandparents were together until one of them died. Grandfather just hit 100 years old. I don't think they were miserable in their relationship like that. What I'm saying is we got to stop saying, because I can go to a lot of my aunts and uncles. Was their relationships perfect? No. But they loved each other and they stayed together. So what I'm saying is this narrative that all men are abusive. That's where I have a problem. Again, I have a degree in behavioral and social, the group science. We got to take that out. Now, unfortunately, if that is your particular experience from what you heard from your grandmother and whatever, that doesn't encompass all women, just like being an abusive black man doesn't encompass all black men. That's my point of what we're saying. Everybody takes this one narrative and it just blows up. That's not true. I can show you 200 or 300 people that I know of that have been together for 40, 50 years, that are my grandparents' age, that some of them are still alive, and they were happy. So don't sit there and tell me everybody was miserable in their relationship. That's bullcrap.
Well, I mean, but just like you said, nobody said everybody was miserable, and nobody's even saying that all men were like that. Again, this is the internet that, you know, as espousing these misnomers that, oh, you know, all men were abusive and all women were abused. That's not true. But to try to keep saying that women back, because I hate that. I see it all over the internet. Oh, women back in the day, you know, what was your grandmama doing? Even Kevin Samuels ran away with your grandmama's. But that to say your grandmama took it, that don't mean your grandmama was always happy, you know, or whatever the case is. Grandma was just like, all right, I ain't got no job or whatever. I know he doing what A, B, C, and D. I'm here, cool. But that still don't mean that she was happy. And then the other question, as I said, you have to answer as a man, why would you want to subjugate a woman to that point? Well, what would be the benefit in doing that?
Again, my experience, my family, that wasn't the case. I didn't experience that. I don't know anybody in my family that actually did that. So again, it's unfortunate if you guys had experience. I'm not minimizing anybody's experience or trauma, but a lot of the women today watched a bunch of Tyler Perry movies and all these other stupid movies, and they projected it on themselves. Because when I asked them, have you ever been in an abusive relationship? I'm talking about the people I know. They say, well, no, but, just shut up.
Y'all just be lying to kick it. Y'all ain't know no droves of women running around talking about Tyler Perry said it. It must be true. Because not too long ago, there was a whole bunch of women mad at him behind saying the man should just have to pay the light bill. So y'all need to quit lying. Tammy Love, how you doing? You say, if it's okay for men to speak for women, then don't complain when white folks speak for black folks saying slavery was good for our ancestors. Stop that. All right, so let me skip down to here. And Virgo says, my old grandma and aunts in their 90s got stories. Of course they do, you know. And Quita says, did they have monkey POC herpes back then? I ain't doing it. Yeah, they had it. They had it. Mike, you say, what about the man that was doing right by the house and still got lip? But that wasn't the norm. That wasn't the norm. I mean, yeah, you got some women out there who like to talk and talk back and all that, but that wasn't all women.
How are you going to say that was norm? That's what you just said. That, wait a minute, hold on. But you just said that back in the day, we don't know what the men was doing. How are you going to say from the women's side? I'm gonna tell you an honest to God true story. My grandmother was a firecracker. She was so much of a bad attitude, a bad problem. I had to put her out of my car one time. Had to put grandma out on the side of the road because she was a woman. Horrible attitude. And I put her ass out on the side because she wouldn't listen. My dad told me from the time I was a kid, do not ever be disrespectful. A man, beast, woman, nor child. And I'm not up with it. So I know you to get.
Yeah, you at Black America, you kind of cutting out a little bit. I don't know why, but you are. I don't know what's going on with your connection, but Micah says my granddad made us kids outside his marriage. I'm sorry. My granddad made kids outside of his marriage, and he and my grandparents stayed together for 70 years. Yeah, there's some stories like that, but I don't know if your grandmother liked that, but you know what I mean? Black America?
No, I was just saying I had a mean grandmother. That's all I was saying.
A mean grandmother?
Mean, yes. She was a horrible individual.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I had two wonderful grandmothers who loved me dearly, and I love them as well. All right, so none of your business. How you doing? He says this idea that black men were oppressing black women is kind of silly if you know the history of America. Yeah, I mean, I've never said that black men were oppressing black women. Hell, shit. Oops, I cussed. We're all oppressed. Let's see. And then Dwayne says Mikey needs to put her behind out of the front door if she can't be told nothing. Brother, pack up her stuff for her. Ooh. All right. So, Brother Don, how are you?
I am well. I'm driving. This conversation just called me into it because the thing about it is we're talking about square pegs and round holes. The problem is this: we're trying to mix two different things. So if we take things back to who and what we are prior to our contact with these individuals and the little ship ride we took, we had a whole in their culture. Their culture is this culture, and this culture doesn't fit our culture. See, our culture, the reason you have a thing called cheating. Oh my goodness, these crazy people in San Francisco. The reason you have a thing called cheating is because you're dealing with the Western culture. And the Western culture, that's actually our oppressors. Now, my understanding of truth says that envy not the oppressor and imitate none of his ways. His ways is this fairy tale thing called monogamy that he doesn't live under. That's why he has mistresses and things of that nature. In our culture, we don't have a thing called cheating. And we have to realize too that in a lot of this, what we're reading is transliterations of words. So for instance, the word husband actually means owner. That's where you get the Lord of the manor and the master of the house. That word actually means owner. So like when you get into husbandry, you're talking about someone who owns animals. So there is a ownership concept where the man is the head and the woman is she's beneath the man in terms of the authority and all that, all those types of things. The problem is we're out of order, and that was given to our women in the 70s with this whole women's right. Our creator never meant for us to be quote unquote equal. That's why he set up orders. And the problems that we're having today is because we're completely out of order. I'll land there.
I mean, I definitely, I can see that, and I'm gonna get where you're going with that. So, Mr. Udig, it says that's conditioned talk. I knew it was coming. Accountability here. And you had a thumbs down, so I'm not quite sure what that means. Hello, Shaniqua, how you doing? So I feel like this. And speaking from a woman's point of view, yes, sometimes we have an issue with accountability, but I think that's true for most people. And I think not being able to take accountability, I think is really seeing yourself more than you ought to. Now, what I mean by that is you don't see yourself as ever being wrong. And then a lot of times too, when people feel like they're wrong, they feel like it speaks like they're not perfect, because some people have this thing to where they have to be perfect. I have to present that I'm perfect all the time. And for me to admit that I'm wrong, or I have to say I'm sorry or take accountability, that means that I'm imperfect. And in my mind, I don't feel like I'm that, right? So I just think that's why a lot of people, it's hard for them to take accountability. And I don't think, unless you just are very super mature, I think a lot of people have to think about it before they do it, right? But being mature, as I said a while ago, is saying, well, I don't like it. Like, I'm one of those people, I hate criticism. I'm not going to lie to you. I hate it. But that I hate it, that don't mean I can't take criticism. You can not like something, but you can still be comfortable and say, all right, I don't like it, but is it true? Okay, I hurt your feelings. All right, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have did that. I'll try not to do that again or whatever. But we do need to, I think as humans in general, we need to take accountability for the things we do. I mean, we see it on a smaller scale. We see it on a larger scale where people aren't taking accountability. And it does cause large problems when we don't do that. And, sometimes you have to ask yourself, well, is it going to really hurt if I say I'm sorry and I did something wrong, or whatever the case is like? Is it going to cost me something? Because you, on the other hand, not being able to take accountability, that's going to cost you something. It could cost your relationship or whatever it is. It's going to cost you something. But Sometimes you got to take a deep breath and say, you know what? I'm wrong. I'm sorry. And understand, see, not being able to take accountability is something that you're doing, but after a while, it becomes something that you are, that you are not being able to take accountability. Don't let it become who you are. Just let it, it could be something that, okay, you know what? I'm not able to do it, but I'm going to do it. I'm sorry, or I did this, that, and the other. But it takes a person to be mature and not really attach it to, yourself of how you see yourself. Self-imagery is very important. And sometimes people have a skewed image of themselves. I think I'm all that. I'm too good, to apologize, or, I'm going to try. And this is the part that I hate too. We hear this term a lot, gaslighting, right? A person, or you're going to try to finagle your way into being right. What had happened was, now I know you think I did this, but what it was, listen, I'm sorry. You're right. I did that. I wasn't supposed to do it. I should have thought twice before A, B, C, and D, because those of us who raise children, we know what it's like to be around something, especially children, when they're in the age of discovery. And sometimes they don't like to take accountability. But then as their parent, you teach them, this is why you need to take accountability. This is what you did. In life, you'll have to take accountability. But I also feel like that comes too when our parents don't teach their children coping skills. When you don't teach your children a set of coping skills, then they avoid accountability later on, right? Because coping is like, well, it's hard for me to cope that I'm wrong and that I actually did something, so I'm just not going to. I'm not going to cope, and I'm not going to accept responsibility. So is it just assigned to women not taking accountability? No, I think it's ubiquitous with everybody, right? Every race, every gender. It's not just that men won't take accountability, it's that women won't take accountability. It's everybody at some point in time has an inability to do it. So I don't even know how that just got to it being women, because on the other hand, it's like saying, well, men are always right because women won't take responsibility. Well, if you're dealing in absolutes, then yeah, it's very delusional, but nobody is right all the time. And I think the other important thing we need to understand is people do make mistakes. It's all right. Humans make mistakes. We're not above reproach to where we can't make mistakes, but it becomes a problem when you can't admit that you made a mistake. I don't know.
Well, we got to this point because the therapist herself, who sees couples, said that women were not taking the accountability. She didn't say anything about the men. She said that the women, because a guy is going to tell you, hey, my bad, I screwed up. We care, but we are man enough to admit it. Women won't admit it, is what it all comes back to.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I just think it's yes, men, y'all do, but some of y'all don't. And just like women sometimes take accountability and sometimes we don't. And that's honestly, I think it does make any situation harder, whether you're in a romantic relationship, a family, whatever, it makes it harder, right? Because not taking accountability is really just a derivative of lying. If you really want to be honest, it's a derivative of lying. I'm not responsible for that. And if you are, that's lying. Like, I know a lot of people who lie, and it's like, you're just lying. And y'all hear me all the time say, don't lie to kick it. You're lying. You not taking accountability is another form of lying. Now, are you the person that lies, or are you a liar? Because sometimes people lie and that's not who they are. Okay, you know what, you call me a liar, I ain't gonna do it no more. But some people, they're liars and they just lie all the time. So there's a difference. Let's see who else came on here. And Felicia, I totally agree. Says, but our creator also did not make the woman out of a sole of our foot, right, brother? Yes, absolutely, you're right. Al says, don't allow anyone to make you feel guilty for the hurt they cause. Blaming the victim is what abusers do. I totally agree with that. You know, if you did something wrong to somebody, just admit it. I wronged you. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? At least do your part in saying, I did you wrong. I know y'all think I'm perfect. You know, I'm not. And I'm just kidding, by the way. But I sometimes, I'll be honest with y'all. Sometimes I have a short fuse. And sometimes I won't say my imagination, like, I'm off in la la land, but you know how sometimes you get to ruminate and you start to draw these conclusions that are not there. Every once in a while, I'll do that, and then I'll kind of, go off or whatever the case is. I actually had to have a conversation with somebody early this morning, and I was in my office working early, and I saw something come across my email, and I called that person up, and my daughter was getting ready to walk into my office, and she saw the look on my face. I kid you not, she walked out and closed the door. I said, why did you walk out? She says, because I know you. I know it wasn't going to be a good conversation or whatever. It was a good conversation, but I had to be very stern with that person. So sometimes I have to tell myself, you know what? Does this situation deserve the razor blades and lemon juice? Or is it just not that serious? A lot of times I have to do that. So, and if I do use a razor blades and lemon juice when it wasn't warranted, then I'll say I'm sorry. I really will. You can ask anybody who's gotten a razor blades and lemon juice unjustly. Dwayne says, I agree. This sick European culture is not our culture. That's why we got to stay on code and discard degenerate behavior and keep hold and on tight and practice our godly traditional culture of marriage. I totally agree with you. I think a lot of people really just don't know what that is anymore, right? Like, what's marriage? King Joe the Great, how you doing? Said, this is a serious subject matter. If we as a people talk about this every day, we really want our families back together. It will build stronger communities, less violence. I totally agree with you. The way you get the Black family back together is you get the Black man and woman back together. And we do get back into traditional roles, and we understand the part that we need to play in order to do that. I'm one of those people, I tell you all the time, even though Black America disagrees, but he ain't never woke up next to me. I'm a traditional woman. I know how to play my role. Now, I know some people take exception to that, but I do. I know how to play my role. I know how to let the man do what he needs to do. I'm going to do what I need to do. And if we get back to that, and Donovan ain't never woken up next to me either. So he got that little smirk on his face. But you know what? Like, he looking at me sideways. I'm looking at him sideways too, because he ain't got no woman in the bed with him. He got cats in the bed with him. You see how the ancestors kept your mic on mute? That's right. Yeah, but we see, y'all see that? Can't hear a word he's saying. Yes, ancestors, come through with the mute button.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
You were next to me. You were in the next room right next to me.
Yes, I was. The room next to you, okay? The room, actually, it was across the way from you, okay? But yes, totally. Ronnie says, not being able to admit wrongness is a form of pride. Yeah, that too. It's a form of pride. I mean, you basically water down what I said, and I think it comes out of us thinking we're perfect. We think more of ourselves than we ought to. That's kind of a derivative of pride too, right? We think more of ourselves than we ought to. And I'm too good to say I'm sorry or I did something wrong. So we're saying the same thing for the most part. Quita says, I added my ex-husband last name to mine. I didn't drop my maiden. See, I'm going to say this. And Quita, I love you. I truly do. I'm one of those women, if I'm going to get married, I'm going to drop my last name. Because I was actually just having this conversation with a woman yesterday where they want to add their names together for the child and this, that, and the other. And it's like, I mean, when you get married to your husband, you're supposed to take on his last name. Now, I get it. It's kind of the last one, I don't know, like 30, 40 years even maybe. Women have started to hyphenate their name. I'm just not going to do that. I'll take your last, because if I'm going to take you, and I'm in every way, shape, and form, then I think I should be able to take your last name too, but we ain't gonna hyphenate nothing. Because to me, when I see, not saying you, I'm just saying, when I see that, I often wonder, what is this about? What are you holding on to? Because if you're still holding on to the old, then you cannot embrace the new. I don't know. That's just my opinion. It could be totally wrong.
Very disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I think that it is. It's like you married the man, but you're not willing to take his last name. Like, you're supposed to take his last name. Unless you do, I don't know, maybe your name is Rockefeller or something. I don't know. Donovan, yes, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Yes. We can't hear nothing you said. Andre, you say.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, my mic died out. That's why I don't like these wireless mics. But wasn't there a Simpson episode on that where Lisa said, when I become president, I'm not gonna take my husband's name.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't have any judgment on anybody else who does it. I'm just saying for me, I would just take my husband's last name. Kiki said, shaking my head, I was with him until he brought up the 70s. When our brothers going to realize that Black women had a different agenda from white women? White women were fighting to separate from men. Black women were fighting for equality. Black feminists separated themselves from white women for a long time because white feminists were dogging Black men. Yeah, there's a... Mm-hmm.
I disagree with that. And I told her so. Well, you guys have been talking for a while. Let me just get a little bit in here. I disagree with that. White women did not separate themselves from their man. They still went out there and protested and tricked you Black women into giving up your man because they went back and stayed with their man. The white woman's fight was to bring equal money back to their family with their husbands. That was what that fight was all about. And we get that misconstrued so wrongly when they were saying, yeah, this is that. Black women did something different because the white women did not leave their husbands. They didn't.
Were all Black women out there burning their bras?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
And not all white women were out there doing it either. So what I'm saying though, in general, we always take that like, well, the white women were fighting for equality to leave their man. They never left their man in general. They were fighting for equal pay, which they're still fighting today to bring that equal. If you're making 6 figures, you're going to bring that 6 figures back to your family. That's what they were fighting for. They wanted to bring as much money back home to their family as the man was making.
It was actually more about money. It wasn't just about
exactly.
money.
Yeah, it was more about money. Exactly.
No, it wasn't more just about money. It was
no. That's a part of it, though. That's what I'm saying. That was a big part of it, though. They didn't, because white women didn't leave their men. They didn't.
Some of them did leave their men.
Yes, but a majority, if you look at the numbers, 70% of Black women are not married and have never been married. And you reverse. Wait.
Is it due to feminism?
Well, I don't know what it's due to, but what I'm saying is, if you look at
it's
the numbers,
it's definitely due to feminism.
Yeah,
it is.
If you look at the numbers, we are so opposite of our white counterparts, and that's what I'm saying.
For why? Why?
What do you mean? There's a bunch of reasons why, but the point of this is white women did not leave their husbands. They're still getting married. They're still having families.
I like how y'all dear brothers always like to tie it to feminism. I study feminism, but
I didn't say anything about feminism, but go ahead.
You did?
I didn't say anything about feminism. I didn't say anything about feminism.
I did.
I know
it was me.
But Donovan, what were you talking about? Because this is the comment here. Hold on. In the 70s. Right? So what were you talking about? We can't hear you.
What I was saying was, if you look at her comment, she's saying that the white women were fighting to separate from men. That's not true. In general, some did, but in general, they were fighting for equality of pay, money, to bring that money home, and they're still fighting that battle. They did not leave in droves.
You brother, and as I say to y'all all the time, y'all need to actually do some studying and stop repeating the stuff y'all hear from other people who are uneducated about feminism. Feminism actually was more about it than a woman leaving her man, or about money. Was a whole lot to it. And for y'all brothers to keep dying on that hill that feminism is the reason why the Black community operates the way it does, it's a very, very small part of it, but it's not the reason that the Black community is the way it is. So y'all need to real honestly educate yourself. It's actually hold on, brother.
Yeah, but what you're saying is very insulting, because again, I didn't say anything like that. I said that's a part of it.
But you addressed her comment and she's talking about feminism. So either
she's talking about it. I'm not talking about it. I'm not talking about it. I'm saying what in that comment, white women were fighting to separate from men is not true. That was a small part of it. That was a small part of it. In general,
you know what? Stop. You know why I'm telling you to stop? Because what you're gonna do is, I get it, Donovan. You can't be wrong. You want to die on this hill. In general, that's not what it was in general.
The statistics of white marriage is significantly greater than Black marriages. Period.
But now what you're doing is you're running all over the place with the argument. You said in general, That's what white women were doing in general. White women didn't leave their men. That in general, it was for money. It was a feminism movement. The second wave, you're referring to the second wave. It was about a lot of stuff. And there was some white women that left their men. So
yes, I acknowledge that.
Okay.
Hold on a second. We have to use in general, Deanna. We can't use all, Miss D. We have to use what the majority is. Not
what does in general mean?
The majority in general is the majority. The majority of black women have never been married. The majority of black women leave their husbands. The majority of black women are in twerk videos. That's what we're talking about. The majority.
You're lying. You're lying. You're lying. Did I say you was lying on black women? The majority of women that y'all know or that y'all see are in twerk videos, but the majority of black women are not in twerk videos. Now, listen, I know that's sensational and it whets your appetite to be able to charge black women, all black women, the majority of black women, in general, black women that out there to be twerking and acting like degenerates, but that is not the majority of black women. Y'all brothers honestly need to be ashamed of yourself for keep peddling that lie. It's disingenuous for her to do it. And I know somebody gonna say, "Oh, Demetra tripping." No, I'm not tripping. But I'm not gonna sit up here and let y'all to continue lying on black women. Are there some black women out there shaking their ass? Yeah, there's some black women out there doing that, but that's not the majority of black women doing that. Knock it off. Moving right
okay, so you believe that the majority of black women have not been married?
Have the majority of black women not been there? That's probably true.
Okay, so if the black, okay, so listen, well, hold on before the pushback comes. Do you believe that the majority of black women have kids out of wedlock?
Yeah, from what I understand, yes.
Do you believe that the majority of black men have children?
From what I understand, the majority of black men do not have children.
Exactly. So that's what we're talking about, Miss D. We're talking about. I was finna bring it home. Okay, go ahead.
Because what I don't want you to do is try to tie an argument to that. The answer we need to answer the question as to why. Why is that? Regardless if it's good or bad. Yes, we know those things to be true, but why? Are you asserting, and maybe I shouldn't put words in your mouth, but are you asserting it's due to black women or something that black women are doing while the black community is in this condition?
Okay, so I'm just going to have to say yes. I'll just say yes. I understand exactly the question that you're saying, and I'm gonna say yeah. The black community is in this condition because black women don't want to listen to men or be held accountable by men or have to do what a man says, or they want to get pushed back to men. I mean, it's a lot of different reasons, but I think it comes back to like what black women want to do. Black women don't want to be married for the most part. They don't.
Damn lie. That's a damn
okay,
lie.
so
y'all gonna get me acting spicy on here today, but that's a damn lie. That there's some black women that don't want to be married, but every black woman I know want to be married. Now that y'all probably hanging around some women who talk about they don't want to be married. Okay, I ain't gonna lie. I know one who don't want to be married. Okay, but most of the black women I know want to be married. So again, y'all can't throw this blanket all over black women that black women don't want to be married. That's not true. Some women, black women don't want to be married, but most black women I know want to have a husband.
Are they older black women?
Whether they old, they young, do it matter?
Yes, it matters.
Why does it matter?
Because older black women don't have the same value. Not as a person. Don't chew me up. You don't have the same value as a younger black or a younger woman. Older women, I don't care if you're purple, green, white, black, blue, you don't have the same value as a younger woman.
Can,
Younger women are more valuable and viable to men than older women. So if it's a woman and she's over the age of, let's say, 35, her value is rapidly decreasing.
when is the last time, my brother, you were a black woman, young or old?
I don't play games like that.
I mean, I'm just saying that I would imagine the answer is never. So how can you tell me as a black woman what black women's values are, whether she old or young? I know old and black women, young and old black women who want to be married.
How many black women have you dated?
Never.
Okay, so that's all I date. That's all I've ever dated in my entire life. I've never even touched a white person's or Chinese or Latino's hand. That's what I'm saying. It is a difference. I date women. You are a woman. The little circle that you have versus the huge circle of women who I'll be laying down it's a big difference, Miss D.
So yeah, I've never dated a woman or a black woman or any of that kind of stuff. But as a black woman, I'm telling you that I desire to be married,
No.
and I know other black women who do.
No, I said I've never dated outside my race. I've never touched anything but a black woman.
I'm saying I've never dated any woman, okay? And I never have. But I do know plenty of black women from all age groups that want to be married. So as far as y'all talking about, the values of women, and y'all need to get up off the internet and go live real life sometimes. Honestly, the stuff y'all see on the internet is there for a reason to make you believe this is the way it is, whether it's against men or it's against women. Trust me.
Well, why don't you do a little research that's showing that about only between 25 to 30% of black women, that is not the majority, want to be married. You see what I mean? So you have to, when we say and talk about these things, we're talking about the general population of women. We're not talking about the circle or the people that you hang around. We're about the vast people in the whole country.
Okay, I'm just going to read some of these comments because I know me and Black America could go on forever, and I see that they are really behind. I'm going to put these comments up and we get to them. Shonda says, I have 10 children, all in wedlock, means that she was married. Most black women I personally know and know a lot are married with children. See, she out there in real life. She ain't up on the internet under Tiny Sotomayor's, comment section. She out there in real life, and she is a black woman with all of her children in wedlock with 10 children. So that I think I'm gonna trust a Shonda before I trust some dude that's listening to another dude on the internet that hate his mama. So y'all made me bring out the
see. Now I want everybody to see the difference in the chat, how the men think and how the women think, and how for some reason Demetra got triggered somewhere along that, and this is what happens all the time where the conversation just goes left.
Nah, brother. Well, see, what we're not gonna do is deduce me down to being triggered. I'm a little bit more emotionally.
Well, what do you call it? Because we've been insulting the whole time in that whole tirade.
If you feel that I'm being insulted to you, then I don't know what to tell you. Put a Band-Aid on it and call it a day. Now I'm able to speak my opinion like you sitting up here speaking your opinion. But as I always said, but as I said, don't come on here spewing stuff that are your opinions that you're trying to make.
So don't speak my opinion. So don't speak my opinion. You just said go ahead and speak my opinion, but now you're saying don't speak my opinion.
Because you sit up here.
That's what you just said.
Brother, you ain't gonna argue over me.
I'm not arguing over you. I'm just repeating what you just said.
No, you're not. You're not, because you didn't listen to what I said.
I did listen to what you said. You said speak your opinion, then you say don't speak your opinion.
That's feminine to do that. I let you, every time you talk, I let you talk. I sit back and I let you speak. I don't cut you off and argue all up over you. That's the shit women do. So as I said, if you was listening to me, I said, what I do not want anybody to do is come on here and try to pass your opinion off for facts. That's what I said. I did not say you could not have your opinion. Just do not try to pass them off as facts unless you're going to be able to back it up. That's all I'm saying. Because one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to get up here and then I try my best not to do that. Get up here and use my opinion and say that's factual. Because one thing I know people got is Google. You can Google anything that we're saying on here. So all I'm saying is, yeah, I have opinion about a lot of stuff, but I'm letting people know it's my opinion. I'm not, well, this is what it is, and this is a fact. No, it's my opinion. But Brother Samuel said, good question. Have you ever discovered that something you thought about yourself was incorrect? How did you find out? How did it affect you when you found out? Yeah, I would imagine the answer is yes, all the time. I mean, because when you are evolving, you're always discovering and finding things out about yourself. And yeah, I'm imagining, you know, we find out things about ourselves that we thought was the case, and it wasn't. And how did it affect me? See, I'm one of the people, whether I like it or not, I try to use it to evolve so I can be a better person. I know that when we hold on to lies, when the truth is in front of us, even if it's about ourselves, then we don't grow. And I'm always interested in growing. Growing is not a comfortable thing all the time, but it's necessary. So I hope I answered that right. All right, so let me skip down a little bit because I know that I am behind. Mr. Udig said deflection, black women behavior. Says who? Says who? Are we saying the internet? Or do we know this from experience, or like this is some data out there? Like where are we basing this from? Is this opinion or is this fact? All right, and so Kiki says that's not specific to black women. Then explain why white women are the most divorced. And Kiki, I would imagine white women are probably the most divorced because they are the most married. I'm gonna assume that's probably why, but don't quote me. Those are just, you know, something that I can think it off the top of my head. All right. Let's see here. I just want to kind of skip down a little bit. Soul bored man. He said the value of black women is giving slavery. Oh, okay. Sonji, how you doing? He says, I agree with the brothers. Okay. And Angel, he says, wait, so when he says all women, he means all young women? Child, I don't know. Kevin, how you doing? He said he speaks for himself. I'm trying to catch up to these comments. My apologies for being behind. And Brina, he says, I just talked to 2 women over 60 who just got married. King Joe says, this guy is kind of rude. Why are we having this topic tonight? I'm a dude. Okay. Lady Blue, how you doing? Says, I'm glad I didn't listen to people telling me my value. God, thank you for letting me know who I am. Absolutely. Mr. Udig, he says, I'm deflecting. How so? If you don't mind me asking, how so? So bored, man. I'm sorry, sad bored, man. I'm tripping. Says people's value come from self, not from another person. That's weird AF and predatory language. Oof. Lady Blue says good women, good women beware of men. Okay, like this guy. I don't know which guy that is. Andre says 2 cousins, sisters married at 50, waiting on the right man. I don't know if your comment got cut off.
Can I say something to a comment you had?
Sure.
Back just a minute ago. Okay, sure. So that guy said it, and it was a guy. I can't believe that. He said that your value comes from yourself and not from others. Yeah. You ask any group of men, they appraise and they value men on a man-to-man basis. Your value that a hobo or somebody that's sleeping on the streets can value themselves very highly, but that's not what the value of a person is. So your value comes from the things that you do and your utilization, how you can be used and your utility. But as far as your value to other people, it does directly come from others. It does not come from just you living around, walking around in sandals and a burlap bag. That just doesn't happen.
False. Because you, I don't care who you are, you're not going to tell me what my self-value is. That doesn't come from you. You validate yourself. Nobody else should have the ability or even think that they have the ability to evaluate or to validate somebody else. So, I mean, I don't know. In your world, maybe that's the case, but I would never allow another person to value me. to tell me
If
what
you
value I have.
if you went in front, if you did something and went in front of a judge, could that judge value how your life is going to turn, or if you're going to get a ticket or something like that?
You stretching.
I'm not stretching. That's how life is. That's how
Really?
that's how everything is.
No, that's
Am I wrong, Donovan? I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong, and I'll say I'm wrong. Am I wrong? I said Donovan because he's another man. So I'm
I don't
asking
think
him.
so. I don't think you're wrong.
Right. Okay. So then y'all like run around letting people tell you what you were. I know goddamn well I couldn't tell Donovan what his value is. He would never have it. And Black America, you wouldn't either. So let's just not lie to kick it. Sonja, you say the majority of Black women are twerking. Facts of sadness, embarrassing. You're a liar too. You're a liar. Okay. Because that's not true. You're a liar. Okay. So let's see here. I'm just gonna move on down, try to get Prime VA 757. How you doing? He says it's not a woman's place to argue with men. Batman's left leg. Okay, says she's Demetra. Thanks for proving the point of the title. This shit is sad and slightly nauseating. This type of attitude is why people are so quick to give up on y'all. You know what? I'm gonna tell you like this. I only need one man. I'm not on here to please all men. I'm up here. I only need one man to value me. But I'm gonna tell you, as I tell y'all all the time, if y'all don't like what I got to say, so deal with it. But one thing I'm never gonna do is I don't care if he a man or a woman, a beast, a cat, a fish. You ain't gonna come up here passing your opinions that are flawed as facts. Now, if y'all have a problem with a woman correcting a man because he's sitting up here lying to kick it, then that's a personal problem. It ain't mine. But I don't take the value that you have on me personally. When I log up off of here, I'm gonna go do what I got to do. I ain't gonna think twice about it. But if I was like Black America that says that y'all get to validate me, then yeah, I would be on here. And like a lot of the people y'all follow, oh gosh, I'm not gonna say this, I'm not gonna say that because they're gonna get. And anyway, Mike, you say, I understand why there's a gender divide because women are still treated as second-class citizens to men. The gender gap has not changed in the last 40 years. I'm just going to leave it up here. I'm behind. You said, stop calling men feminine for correcting you. Donovan don't have the ability to correct me. See, that's what y'all need to get it straight. Donovan ain't my man. Donovan, Black America, and nobody on here has the ability to correct me. And it is feminine. Y'all, if I was doing that to Donovan, talking all over him and not letting him finish his point, y'all would say I was masculine or say either that's what women do. But that's my opinion. I think it is very feminine. I'm talking. I don't cut people off. I let people talk, say whatever they got to say. But when somebody's, I believe that's a feminine trait. So, but again, and I told y'all once before, this ain't new to Donovan. He don't have the ability to correct me. I'm a fully grown woman. Okay, so let me move on now.
Who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna check me, boo?
Come on. Y'all mad tonight. Y'all gotta be in the bonnet tonight. But that's all right. Y'all be all right. You gonna be all right. Y'all need to learn how to have some coping skills. I know, so some of y'all are very primitive in y'all thinking. Y'all think that a woman shouldn't have an opinion or she shouldn't say nothing to you. I'm the host of this show. I'm gonna have something to say. Now I know some of these women on the internet. Oh yes, men are everything. Oh, men are always right. Those women, they're she-baby. I know y'all like that kind of stuff, but over here we gonna keep it in the middle. But ain't no man. I don't care who he is. If he ain't my daddy, my brother, or my man. He not gonna subjugate me. And even my daddy, with he's 80 years old, I listen to everything my daddy tell me, but my daddy ain't gonna subjugate me. And ain't no man on the internet gonna subjugate me. And if y'all don't like it, then make it do what it do. Brother Samuel, he say, this show is a perfect lead into this weekend, and I will be watching. He says the 38th anniversary of the Million Man March, right in line with, is it the 38th or the 28th? I could be wrong. It says anniversary, right in line with the 8 steps of atonement, point out the wrong, most difficult of all, acknowledge the wrong, confess fault, repentance, atonement, forgiveness, reconciliation, and restoration, perfect union with God. And I will be tuned in. I definitely will be. I'll make sure I have everything I got done so that I was actually even thinking about going to the mosque. So I'm gonna play that by ear. Patty, how you doing? It says single mother, and she made sure to advocate for that. Okay, I don't know what that comment is. I'm just trying to skip down. Let's see here. Felicia says, I learned that most women, the ones not a good interaction with their dad, can't discern when we angry to get order versus to break things up. All the ones with no dads in the home. Well, I have a very good dad. My dad is still in my life to this day, very instrumental in my life. My dad is FOI, has been since he was 19 years old. And then he would tell you right now, my daddy called me and tell me to do something, I'm going to do it. But don't y'all ever get mistaken to think that because y'all a man, and I tell y'all this all the time, and you got a little something extra between your legs than I do, that you could tell me what to do. You don't have rapport with me to tell me what to do. So I'm sorry if that bothers you. And I'm not saying this to you, Felicia. I'm just saying in general. I do agree. I'm a woman who has a good relationship with her father. She's going to know how to deal with men. And that's why I'm the way I am. My daddy tell you right now that I've been taught by my father, and he would not ever think that it's acceptable that I sit myself up on this internet and allow a bunch of dudes to subjugate me because he think he a man. I'll put him on here right now and he'll tell you that. So I agree. Shandi says, I think we need to spend more time actively listening to one another. As long as honesty is first, if we do that, then there will be a lot less dysfunction. I totally agree with you. Queedy says, do you think someone care if you don't think we have value? Okay, so I think you may be talking to Black America. And Kelvin says, this is sad. We're all we have. Yeah, I agree. And anybody watch my show, I'm not on the black man hating train. I'm not on the black woman hating train either. We try to keep it in the middle, but y'all already know. Y'all been watching me for a long time. Don't come on here trying to subjugate me, try to call me masculine and lie on me, saying I'm triggered and all that. No, I'm just not no lightweight. Like I said, there's plenty of women out there. Let y'all do that to them. I ain't one of them. And Kiki says, no, it doesn't. The guy needs therapy. I'm sorry. I try to respect people's perspective, and I try to have an open mind about him, but this guy is toxic. So I'm sorry. I don't know who you're speaking of. So I'm sorry about that. And Brina, you say high value men need another man to validate their manhood. So glad to say my husband doesn't. Quita says, Demetra, great show. It's too much testosterone in here, flying everywhere. Peace, sister. Yeah, come back another day. I know it's tight, but it's right. And Angel, you says, as we see in the comments, us women, is it like the women they know, and some men don't agree with the callers? People should date who's right for them instead of saying all men needs this and all women need, I think, meant to be that. Yeah, so I agree with you, but that's kind of how it is. You got men and women who on the internet thinking they need to blanket every woman, even a woman that ain't theirs, with their ideology of what that should be. It's
nobody says all, though. We say in general. So that means the majority. People keep going back to this all. It's not all women. Miss D, I know you're not twerking nowhere. I hope to God. But the girls in your daughter's age range, they're definitely, when they go out there twerking. They're every song that come on, they got a different twerk move to it. Like I'm telling you, I was in Nebraska all of this week, and those good old country girls, they was all out there twerking. You couldn't go anywhere without them twerking, even at the breakfast place. So I'm saying it's not it's not you, it's not your daughter, it's not your sister, it's not any of the women that's in your circle. But your circle is just a subset. It's a small portion of what's actually going on in our community. I mean, I really wish you would like go to a club or get out around regular people that are not like you and see what's going on.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, I mean, people. I saw Sonji, I think it is, talking about most women. I think she said majority of black women are twerking. It's. I ain't gonna cuss. I want to, but it's a lie. A lie. You say you're very masculine and very combative. Why get angry over self opinion? Your mama is masculine and very combative. How about that? Your mama and your grandmama. Did I say it cute enough for you? Your mama and your grandmama is masculine. Okay, they probably got a Bic to shave their beard every morning. They probably got a 5 o'clock shadow right now. How you like that, okay?
That was me. That's cold right
I
there.
meant it to be. And overseas African, how you doing? It says back in the dating game at 49, there are stunning Black women on Hinge above 50. I don't want to be having filled out with someone who is not intellectually, financially, and emotionally developed. Ditto. Same here. Same here. And then Sandra, I'm sorry. I feel bad because I left off your great grandmama. Yeah. So it is the 28th anniversary. Okay. Let's see here. Let's skip down a little bit because I know. Hey, Miss Sweet Talk, how are you doing today? Gentle lady, how you doing? He says, sis, I don't like this side of you. Well, you know what? Sometimes you got to show people the side of you that they don't want to see. But I don't ever want nobody to mistake me as no punk. That I'm a stay a lady as long as they stay a gentleman. As long as we can do that, then we can. I'll be all right tomorrow, but today we on something totally different. But I love you anyway. Facts Not Feeling says we saw the tapes of Black women in the 70s going full swing in feminism. Okay, I saw those tapes too. Rodney said most men aren't interested in controlling women. They have no covenant with any woman. I'm not willing to die. You made me 4. I care not what they say, think, or do. Keeping it 300. Okay. Shonda says, what I don't like is those women being used as overall representation of us. Y'all don't want the Pookies and Ray Ray tag, but it's okay to label us as Felicia. Yeah. All right. So let me skip down. And our daddy says some women are raised to respect themselves, and I'm one of them. I'm one of those women that have been raised to respect myself. And as I say it, it's tight, but it's right. And if y'all got a problem with me not allowing men to run roughshod all over me because they got an opinion or whatever, that I don't know what to tell you. But I never, and I do want to reiterate, never have been that type of woman to allow a man to run roughshod all over me because he think he a man. Now I can respect you as a man as long as you respect me as a woman. But you get on here lying, and this ain't the first time we have this conversation. It ain't gonna be the last. You get on here lying, calling me masculine, talking about I'm triggered and all that other stuff, then I'm gonna have something for you. And I always will. So I'm just letting you know. Yeah, and Miss Sweet Talks, I don't need to go to the club. I'm 52 years old. There ain't nothing in the club for me but somebody daddy who too old to be up in there looking for somebody's daughter. So I'm a pass on that. And Brina says, how about going somewhere else besides a club? Yeah, that I just think that's what people clubs just ain't for me.
What about a lounge? What about a lounge anywhere where they play some upbeat music? Have you been anywhere besides? I know you went to the House of Blues. Describe that. Well, you're going to the House of Blues?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I did go, but I'm thinking about next week. I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to a concert.
Okay, so I want to see what you see. That sounds like that could be fun.
Yeah, I like I like jazz. I like classy environments, but I ain't gonna be hopping around no club, because I know what people go to the club for. They looking for some action. They're gonna be back next week looking for some more action. So I like to do things that require you to be just a little bit more dignified. Not that there's anything wrong with the club. I used to go when I was 18, 19, and 20. Just being 52 years old, I just prefer not to frequent that environment. And Tammy Lovey says, who cares if it was me and y'all me, and I'm tired of it. You know what though? I love you too. And what I'm saying is out of love is I'm not mad or anything like that. It's just, sometimes people just need to understand people get tired of it. And I think I'm really patient with a lot of nonsense, but sometimes I'm not. Al, you say fair warning, please don't disrespect Brother Walter Sr.'s daughter, period, in that order. And Miss Tiffany says, I love that side of Demetra. Keep it coming. Y'all know, I really be trying to just really be cool, but sometimes it just is like, I be counting to 5 a lot, like think 5 times before I speak, but y'all not gonna keep on coming on here calling me names and talking about our trigger because I'm asking you to back up what you're saying. If what you're saying got marriage, and you shouldn't have no problem backing it up. I don't know what pink pill is. I ain't never heard of it before. It's news to me. Juggernauts, 171. How you doing? And if anybody wants to speak, y'all can. But let me read this. It says the white supremacist training of having us Black folks against each other's throats is the reason why Black men and women have friction, and we need to find, resolve, and cure ourselves from that energy. I totally agree, but I think it's about learning respect for one another. I know that a lot of times people think, you know, I don't know, maybe because you're a man that you should be able to usurp or not usurp, but subjugate a woman any way you can because, you know, you a man, it's the my way or the highway, but a woman is so much more than how high, honey, you tell me to jump up which hole tonight. A woman is more than just that. A woman has an opinion too. A woman has a lot of valuable things to say as well. And again, as a man, I can't tell y'all what kind of woman to have. If you want a woman like that, that's your prerogative. But you don't get mad if you pressing upon a woman and she don't want to be that to you. Then go find somebody who doesn't have a problem with that. But I agree with you. But that's not what it is tonight. White supremacy don't have nothing to do with what's going on tonight. This has a lot to do with, like I said, y'all not gonna keep on come on here trying to subjugate me. I'm not going for it. I'm just not. Brother Don, did you have something to say?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know, overall, yeah, the white supremacy does have something to do with this, but you know, we're so far removed from that. We can't call the source though. I mean, the Willie Lynch methodology of breaking our people, and then even putting our people at odds, one against the other, dark against light, etc. So we got that historical stuff. The problem is, I'm just straight up, I just got to say what I got to say. And I like when you get your razor blade and your lemon juice out, because some of them fools be needing it. The problem is this: we're completely out of order. If we were living the way that we were supposed to be living, we wouldn't be having these issues. We wouldn't be talking about single motherhood. We wouldn't be talking about the dysfunction between Black males and Black females, because that order is in place. It's just a matter of we care to adhere to it, or do we think we know better? Because I know this, like my aunt who's 90, and my uncle passed away maybe 10 years ago or what have you, but he was the head of the house. And she knew what he was doing, but it was never displayed to the outside world. And so even him being in the wrong in this, quote unquote, in the wrong in this Western ideology of relationships, she still knew, I got a good man who provides, who protects, and I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna leave it right there. The 70s really messed our women up because they got into this whole ideology that I don't need a man. I can do this by myself. And that was perpetrated by the welfare system. And you're right. The white woman, she just wanted equal pay. She wanted the ability to get out into the workforce and earn equal pay. But what folks didn't understand is that the Rockefellers had a nice little plan for you. It was called double the tax base. And here, let me have your children for all this time so I can get them to prepare to be good little workers and not thinkers. See, so if we really look at the root problems and stop finger pointing, but I think I'm gonna be honest. And then looking at the world and where we are, we're done. We're done. I land there.
Thank you, Brother Don. And I'm going to push back on you as well. Y'all need to really study. Y'all talking about the second wave of feminism. Study it. It was more to it than they just wanted some money. It was a little bit more to it. And the 70s did not mess up the black woman and the relationship with the black man. Slavery did that. Slavery messed that up. Yeah, it was a time, right after slavery, we had our stuff together. But we know what happened with that. And as I always say, I want y'all to find me one sister that was running around in the 70s that kicked her man with a check out the house for a little bitty welfare check. Find me one sister that said, yeah, I wanted what Uncle, as Donovan would say, Uncle Sugar was offering and my man was working. I put him out the house. Where is that at? Because I think when we tell that story, y'all don't tell the whole story. No woman was putting her working man, and I know there's reason why he didn't have no job. I'm not saying that, but no woman put her working man out of the house that was making more. And y'all know anybody, if you know anything about welfare, you know damn well welfare was not giving man or woman enough to really just get over and live lavishly. So no woman, and if she did, she was silly. But I would venture to say that was not the case, where a woman put a working man that was making a good living out the house so that she could be independent on welfare.
I don't think that was intentional. I just think that that's the way the cards played out, because there's plenty of documentaries that say not necessarily that she put him out the house, but that's what destroyed, that contributed to the destruction of the black family as a nucleus.
So is she
and there's plenty of information of older women that will tell you that that the man couldn't be there and they had to hide their clothes. My aunts, my mother's sisters, and on the other side, that they would have to hide my uncle's clothes in the garage or in the trunk of the car when they came and did a check, and my uncles, even the ones that were working, they would have to do it. Now, my mom and dad, they just thugged it out, and we kind of moved around, but it did happen in many cases, though.
Was your uncles working? They was working?
Yeah. My dad, when he came home from Vietnam, he went to work for the Union Pacific Railroad. So yes, he was working. And when things got tight, 78, 77-ish, things got tight. Yes, it was time to hide my dad's clothes also. I mean, this is a story that I got from my mother.
Okay, so that might have been true for your family or whatever, but so your I'm trying to just understand this. Your uncles were working, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So how is it that your uncles who were working, how did they wives or they women end up on welfare?
It's kind of like where it's going today with rent skyrocketing, gas prices super inflated. Everybody, my mechanic that works on my diesel, he makes great money, $30-something an hour, but he is living from paycheck to paycheck and can't understand. He can't get ahead. He can't pay all of his bills. He only have one kid, a wife, and his mother living with him, and he can't get ahead. But rents have went up $500-600. Your car insurance is going up. The gas in your vehicle, everything is going up. They're wiping out the middle class. The same thing happened in the late 70s.
I honestly don't have a lot of energy.
I mean, you keep blaming it on slavery, but let's look at it like this. Hold on.
No, wait a minute, no, because I want to make sure we're clear. I said the 70s did not mess up the relationship between the black man and the black woman. I did say slavery, but y'all keep bringing up feminism. If that was the most pivotal part,
Miss D, Miss D, let me say this. In the 60s and before, black people were the most married in this country. So if slavery messed up our relationships, why didn't it mess it up before the 60s, before 65? Have you came up with an answer for that?
If you was listening, I said that. I said, I know there was a time, did I not? I said there was a time after slavery where we had our stuff together, but we know what happened with that. That's exactly what I said. We know what happened with that. That was white supremacy, which Black Wall Streets and all of that. So we know what happened with that.
All the way up into the 60s. All the way up into the 60s. So what happened right after 65, 66?
The civil rights movement happened. That black
we were together during the civil rights movement. Hold up. We were together during the civil rights movement.
Up until that, he said up until 65. When did the civil rights movement start?
Yeah, I always say 70s because it was after our quote unquote representatives were eliminated and our people were just kind of in the wind. And that's where the prime time. That was a prime time for white women to recruit black women into the WOW movement.
Let me tell y'all something, okay? I know it sounds good to say that white women, yeah, they recruited some black women, but that was not all black women. And that's why I said I impress upon you brothers to really do some studying, because y'all getting little bits and pieces of feminism and the bits and pieces that suit the narrative that black women ain't shit. That's the narrative from feminism that y'all are getting from.
Never said that. Never said that, Demetra. Never said that. Would never say that.
I never say that either. I love black women. You know that. I told you I love black women. I would never say that a black woman's not shit. What I'm saying is, yeah. Hold on now. But what I'm saying is, in general, it is a lot of our women who have went astray. As the community, see, black women, when they say family, they don't even mention men anymore. They say them and their kids are the family. A man has nothing to do with as part of their family anymore.
I think y'all have some sound issues. Monica, how you doing? Says hi, Demetrius, guest speakers. It's very sensitive. I mean, it's very tense convo. I believe due to the hundreds of years of white supremacy oppression, black women and men are fighting to be heard, seen, and respected. So we going on each other. That is absolutely correct. I totally believe you. And I'm going to answer somebody's question. They said, "What's the solution?" We're good. And if somebody came on here and I didn't acknowledge you, it wasn't on purpose. I just didn't see your name, so I'll try to remember to say hello to you. Kiki says, so y'all are acting like brothers weren't leaving black women when they gained their freedom after slavery. I'm just gonna keep reading because we kind of hear a little bit over time. And Shonda says, y'all are saying the same thing and not hearing. During the 60s and 70s, the government destroyed the black family using multiple components, including welfare and feminism. Exactly. There was a lot of things involved. It wasn't just feminism or a woman burnt her bra and said, okay, you got to go. It was a little bit more to it than that. Dark Titan, how you doing? Says he's definitely saying wrong with this information. Okay. Let's see here. Brother Samuel said that's a good point. Black America. Dr. Umar Johnson pushes. Don't mention his name around here because people like to get upset. Says that's a good point. Black America. Dr. Umar Johnson pushes the punt. Also said that I think he meant maybe the punt or the point. He says also says that the focus after the civil rights movement was to work on the destruction of the black family. Yes, that's why I like to call it the false idea of civil rights, because it really just was. I mean, we ain't been the same since. Kiki says, I was born in the 70s. I'm tired of women's decisions in the 70s being held to me and other sisters I know. And Angela, you saying, if the men had been responsible and providers, then women would not have had to go on welfare. Mr. Brian say, our women are trying to become our rivals. I mean, I don't, maybe the women y'all know. I'm not trying to rival no man. I that is not my existence to be here on the planet, is to rival a man. My goal is to be one with a man. Now, maybe some of the women y'all come across with, they are that way. Y'all, they become y'all rivals for whatever reason. I don't know what to tell you. But that is not my purpose, is to rival a man. But I will say this, that a woman is so much more than I think, unfortunately, y'all brothers have been taught. Y'all have been taught the antiquated way that women, are to be seen and not heard. I'm not one of those women. I have a lot to say. I'm a very intelligent woman, and I'm not gonna bite my tongue to coddle men. Now I know the line, of being respectful of a man, but he needs to be respectful of me too. It's a two-way street. I don't live in a universe where a man could be disrespectful to me and I take it because he a man. And I don't even know why a man would even be comfortable in that situation, or even a woman doing that to a man. That's not what we're supposed to be doing to each other. And Deanna, how you doing? By the way, it says a simple Google search of feminism, intersectionality, womanism, and misogynoir. You would know that, yes, some Black women were roped into feminism, but a lot weren't, because they had their own problems. But see, that's not a conversation a lot of people want to have. They just want to keep espousing the same old talking points that they learn. Like I said, I'm not a feminist, even though some people think that I am. You could be for women and not be a feminist. I would venture to say, and let me shut up because I'm gonna get in trouble. Okay, I don't want to do that. But yeah, I just think people should educate themselves. Like, stop, trying to read the little memes that you read on Facebook, or you watch some of these people's channel and they got y'all hyped up into believing this, that, and the other. And those people, see, I don't follow people who don't study and who don't read. I can tell a person who study and read just by listening to it for a couple of minutes. And I'm not going to sit up every night, night after night after night, listening to people who just all opinion based. Like, I didn't agree with a lot what Kevin Samuels did or said, but I did like some of the things he said, because I could tell Kevin Samuels did some of his research, not facts, not feelings. I saw that you brought up the Moynihan report, and Kevin brought up the Moynihan report. But if you really knew about the Moynihan report, you would know that it was skewed, because they did not factor in the role that white supremacy played in how those people, because they were talking about, a Black woman is this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of Negroes ran away with the Moynihan report. And it's funny, because on one hand, a white man can't tell y'all nothing, but this white man came up with a report, and y'all going to spew it off as his gospel, but it was skewed. He left off the role of white supremacy and how it helped dilapidate the Black community. He put it all on the backs of Black women and the internet, including Kevin. I saw him tonight. He broke it all down.
He did put that in there, though, Miss D. He did put that in there, that when the Black men were getting jobs and they were thinking that the welfare state for Black women would go down, the more the Black men were employed, it had the opposite effect, because they said that the Black men were not making enough money. He did put that all in there. It's in there.
Got you. And you know what? Maybe one day I'll go back and watch it, because toward the end of Kevin's life, I actually liked his messages, because they were really well rounded. I mean, they really were. And so, but one thing I would say about Kevin is he did his research. These knuckleheads nowadays on the internet, they giving his stuff a black eye. They done ran away with all the stuff he was saying and twisted it around and created these false narratives. And one thing about Kevin, he was able to back up some of the stuff, most of the stuff he was saying. But these people now, they just got y'all, this led y'all all astray. And I really feel bad for you. And a lot of times y'all say, have y'all heard of this? Have y'all watched that? No, I purposely don't inculcate myself with a lot of people's opinions, because they not right. And so why I'm gonna listen to somebody who has not studied? They just bumping their gums on the internet. I don't do this for a check. I know a lot of people do, but I feel like when you start doing this kind of stuff for a check, then yeah, you're gonna start having a skewed opinion and passing your opinion off as fact. As long as I'm on this internet, I'm gonna try my best to never lead y'all astray. That is not my purpose. I don't have an insatiable need to be right at all costs, because I don't have an agenda. I do have an agenda. My only agenda is to help Black men and women get on the same page. I don't have an agenda to be down with the Black man, down with the Black woman, because that's why I said, when you do stuff for a check, then you are disingenuous in your delivery. Or when you're trying to get the keys and the ha-has and the likes, you get drunk off of that stuff, and you start saying stuff that's not true. So I try not to do that, and it would never be my intention to lead anybody astray. And if I have done that, I am sorry. Hey, Mr. Norris, how you doing?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
We're doing well. What's on your mind?
Well, I think I should come in here and say something from the married man's point of view. One of the things that I realize, I hear people saying this and that about the black woman. I don't agree with that. Because the first thing, well, me and my wife, we have a great relationship. It's 35 years. And one of the things I realized that God told me that the first thing he teaches us about a man is that it ain't good for the man to be alone. And I am the head of the household, but it's a position that's earned, is not given. Later on, and we are equal power. You understand what I'm saying? Ain't no bosses up in here. She has as much power as I do. But I've given that title here, but I've earned it. I've earned it over time. And I think people don't understand that relationships and marriages take time. We have a good time because we understand each other better than at the beginning. And that takes time. That takes time. You just don't get married or go into a relationship and think that everything's going to smooth out all of a sudden. It takes time. And to me, going from a black woman to any other woman is like going from a Cadillac to a mule. And I'm loving y'all conversation because I love to hear you get in people's butt because that makes you sexy to me. I don't like it. That's part of what makes you sexy. I don't want no woman that agrees with me. Why did you think they took out in the marriage vows to obey? Don't nobody obey me. She don't belong to me. She belongs to her and God. I'm just on loan. My relationship is not permanent. One of us gonna be dead, okay? So it's not permanent. So I got to respect her and realize this is a gift from God that I was given. And I can't be running around here bashing on her. And the boys used to tell me, where is Norris? They said, well, he's at home with Gwen. And they asked me, why you at home with Gwen all the time? I said, because I likes it here, okay? I likes it here. But that's just from a 35-year, but the relationship grows, it has to be made and remade. You can't take the relationship and put it on the shelf and think it's going to survive. You have to work with it and grow with it and everything. And I think if you get a black woman, a good black woman, you have got a gift from God. That's the way I feel about it. Because my relationship ain't got better. It's done got gooder. That type of thing. I'm loving it. I'm telling you, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And if I just can't see this, analyzing it. It's kind of like looking at a pretty rose and want to pick it apart to figure out why it's so pretty. Just enjoy it. Shit, what are you doing? Just enjoy it. We go through all of us, all our lives have went through tons of people. You might find one or two out of all those people that might click. And if you do, hold on to them. Because it don't come around every day, every week. You know what I mean? And that's just from the married man's point of view. I'm loving it here. I'm loving it. I love the black women, all of them. You know what I'm saying? All the black women. I got nothing negative. Because I feel like, when I started looking at my wife in a negative light, that's not helping her to grow. You know what I'm saying? I mean, supporting her. Yeah, that's positive. I had no problem. It was a time she was making more money than me. But she was sharing the money with me. So what's the problem? I ain't got no problem with that. But like I said, this head of the house thing and this boss thing, you got to go out the one. You the head of the house because you take care of stuff to jump up. And what I think guys don't understand, the woman was the last thing created by God. Everything else was in place for her, even the man. And we supposed to be a covering for her, a protection to her. Not talk about, I don't care what the white folks and all this. All I know, my wife, I'm supposed to cover her. That's my job in this relationship. And that makes it better. And there's plenty of days she has to cover me. That's when I say there ain't no bosses. There ain't no bosses. I'm the head, but it was a position that was earned from her. She didn't just give it to me. You understand? You have to show yourself responsible. And that's all I got to say, Demetri.
Well, you know what, Norris? You know I love and appreciate you dearly. Your wife is a very lucky woman, and this has always been my saying. When wisdom speaks, listen. We need to listen. Mr. Norris, you said you are in your 70s, correct?
Uh-huh.
You're in your 70s. So I think Mr. Norris knows a little bit more than we do. He's been married, you said 35 years.
Right.
Been married 35 years. I think he's found him a formula that works. Now, some people probably said it worked for him, and I see people in here disagreeing. Donovan said he disagreed because I am ordained by God to be the head of the household. Norris, what do you say about that?
But I am ordained, but it's earned. What I'm trying to see, it's earned. A woman will look at you and see if you're going to be responsible. But the head, I think they get the head mixed up with the boss. There ain't no boss. We are equal bosses. She tells me what to do, okay? And I love it. I love it because I ain't got all the damn answers. I don't. You know, she started doing some things on her little business, and she asked me, "What you think about it?" I said, "Go on and do what you want to do because what I was doing wasn't working. You understand? And what she's doing is working. So why? Like I said, we equal power. We equal power. I am supposed to be a covering for her, a protection. Anything that God made, she is delicate like a flower." And things like flowers, babies, delicate things are supposed to be protected by the man. But at the same time, I'm not her boss. I'm not her daddy. I have never hit a lady because my mama taught me, don't hit a woman. Her parents raised her. You can't raise her no more. And she also taught me, if you want to die real quick, hit a woman. The women out here, they would shoot you. You ain't this woman's boss. She's a gift from God. Oh, you got to realize that. You got to look at it differently.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Norris?
Yeah, you can ask.
Do you think the same caliber of women still exist today that is in your wife?
I do. Because I've got nieces and nephews that are the same caliber of woman. The same caliber of woman. See, I like a woman like Demetri. I have to have somebody getting my ass periodically. You understand? And that's a given. And I appreciate her doing that. And it's the same caliber of woman. The question is, are we the same caliber of men?
You know what? The thing is, sir, men are not going for that women getting up in your ass no more.
Well, they maybe. Go ahead.
We not down for being berated by women or downgraded by women or saying that you don't make enough money or that you're not tall enough and all of these things anymore. So, I mean, I love a lot of what you're saying, but I just think that for nowadays that your formula, 35 years, everything gets passed you by. A lot of things have passed me by.
Well, let me ask you this. If you feel that you can correct a woman, why is it that you don't feel that a woman can correct you?
No, nobody ever said that a woman couldn't correct you. What the thing is accountability. And if the woman is willing to accept being accountable for her actions.
Well, the thing about it, you have to be accepting to be accountable for yours. But that's one of the things, like I'm telling you, you grow to that. That's not all the stuff you're talking about, doesn't happen automatically. It takes time. You live with a woman because of understanding. You understand her better. She understands you better. That takes time. And I'm gonna tell you something. You know, when you was a young man,
I don't know.
when you was a young,
My
when you was a
phone's been
young
messing
man.
up ever since they
Wait, hold on. I'm
ever
sorry.
since they changed that.
But when you was a young man, if y'all ever noticed, all the people who you were crazy about in love when you were a teenager and all that, you never could get them. And the ones you got, you know, a good person, you might like them a lot, but you ain't just crazy about them. I don't believe in that love at first sight. Love has to be built. And one thing I like about the marriage part of it, it's enough hell in these streets. I don't want to come home to hell. The house should be peaceful. And it's up to me to help to keep the peace. You know? But like I say, I don't care. You know something, you say, oh, it's a different generation and all of this. The sun that's shining now is the sun that was shining when your great grandmama was born, and it's still gonna be shining when your last grandchild dies. In other words, there ain't nothing new under the sun. Now we can blow it up and make it something, you know what I'm saying, out of proportion. But I got to step in there, quit bashing these black girls. Oh, they're my girls. God damn. Quit it. And Demetri, I'm telling you, I love when you cussing them out. That's so sexy to me. I love a good cussing out. It's so freeing to the soul.
Well,
that's all I got.
I have to make sure I do it more often then.
Yeah,
Demetri, this is your demographic of man you should be looking for right here.
I believe you own to something. You own to something.
You own to something. You own to something, yeah, because we ain't about clubbing. We about stability. That's you know right. What I'm saying? Emotional stability. We ain't all over the place. We clubbed when we were 19 and 20. That's past. Talking about clubbing now. That's you talking about the past now. Ain't you 52, 51, something like that?
No, I'm 50, but I do run a club though. So, but I am.
Oh, you run a club, yeah. Because I know you ain't got no business running around a club. Okay, you ain't running around a club trying to hit something. We used to do that, trying to hit something when we were smoking dope. You understand? But now we're more stable. Now that's what I say. If you want a woman, look at her as a gift. Now that's what she is. I don't know whether y'all saw that movie, Denzel Washington, John Q. He said something in that movie that's true to today. You treat every woman like a princess because that's what they are. That's all I got to me.
Well,
do you know who Sexy Red is, Mr. Norris?
Yeah, I know who she is. She and her mom and dad ought to be ashamed.
Okay. Do you know who? So what I'm talking about is the young women that are like Sexy Red and Sukiana. You said they should be ashamed. That's what I'm saying. The majority of young women are now, sir.
No, it's not. I don't believe that. I don't believe that because I know too many good young women. That's it. Like Demetri said, that's an opinion of maybe the people you ran into. But the women I know are real women. I'm talking about the young ones and the old ones. Because I don't fool around with nobody who ain't.
Have you ever seen those young women when they were out interacting with people, sir?
Yes, I've seen them. And you know what breaks my heart is the music they listen to. See, when I was coming through, we were about romance. Now the women allows men to call them hoes and bitches. What is that? What is that? Where did that come from? We talked about my sweet baby, my baby love. And now all of a sudden, they filling their head with hoes and bitches, and I'm a gangster, and I'm gonna kill you, and all. Whoa, nobody get shot, man. That's what we need to get back to. But I'm telling y'all, there's a woman who will correct you is a good woman, because sometimes we need correction. I ain't talking about order you. I say correct, and she has the right to do that, and I love it.
Okay. One last question for you. How are you
Okay.
going to be the head? How are you going to be the head, but you're not the boss?
Oh, you don't. Let me tell you something. Like I said, she doesn't belong to me. God has given her to me temporarily. I don't own her. I do not own. Just because you married to a woman, you still the owner. She's her own person. You understand? So I ain't do no bossing. That's the quickest way in the world to get cussed out in a marriage. And that's the quick way to destroy the peace in the house. Giving orders. I ain't got all the sense. Why would I think I got all the sense where she can't say nothing or can correct me? And I appreciate her correcting me. I think correction, like Demetri is doing tonight, oh, that's sexy to me. Oh, Lord Jesus, correct me some more. That's all I got, Demetri.
No wonder why he couldn't hear me. I tell him, thank you so much, Norris, for coming on here. We love you dearly. I do anyway. But I always say when wisdom speaks, we should listen. And Norris has been around a while. I know, some of y'all had an issue with what he's saying, but the minister says, how would you know that you're a man unless you have a woman to test that theory? You know what I mean? Like you said, there's a difference between, correction and a woman nagging you. But a lot of times when a woman says something to a man, he automatically thinks, oh, she nagging, she got something to say. It's like, well, are you above reproach? She can't say nothing to you at all. You don't want to. Don't say nothing to me. To me, it's like the equivalent of a woman in the car with a man before GPS and all that. Honey, I think you're going the wrong way. I know where I'm going. And then you end up going the wrong way. And she's like, well, I tried to tell you, but I guess because I'm a woman, I'm too stupid to know the way. You know what I mean? So, like I said, sometimes it's tight, but it's right. So I love and appreciate Mr. Norris for coming on here and imparting his experience and his wisdom on us. That's trying to say I'm speechless. Sometimes I am speechless, believe it or not, but I want y'all to pay attention to something. Y'all saw how disarming Mr. Norris was? I sat and listened. Now, Mr. Norris wasn't completely agreeing with me. He was just giving his point of view. I sat and I listened. I didn't say one word because Mr. Norris wasn't coming at me, with the daggers. You this, you, and that's that right there is a perfect example. When a man, and I'm not saying this about y'all, so please don't get a bee in your bonnet. But when a man is acting masculine, the woman is going to rest in her femininity in all situations. That's just the way it
is. That wasn't acting masculine. He was very complimentary towards you. But I'm just saying, he like a woman to correct him and get in his ass. Like I don't know no man that's going to actually sit up there and say that, but somebody from the baby boomer generation.
And you know what? And then you wonder why. Wonder why we in the situation we in, because you got a lot of men who don't think a woman should be able to say anything to them at all. Now, yeah, he used the word getting in their ass, but sometimes a woman does that, and it's out of love with her man. Hey, boo, I see what you're doing, but might you want to think about doing it a different way? Or that's not the, something, but we all got to be able to listen to each other. So sometimes, and I get what he was saying, because I'm the man, I'm the head of the household. I ain't never, ever supposed to listen to you because I'm the head. No, we're supposed to listen to each other, take correction from each other. And Brother Samuel says, right, the minister says a husband takes care of a vineyard that I guess maybe you can rewrite your comment because I don't want to mess it up. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't. He said he was complimenting. Yeah, that's always nice. That's also another way to have a woman, rest in her femininity. Women like that, right? But I'm saying, and that's kind of the whole confrontational thing. When you come at somebody like that, full speed ahead, that's confrontational. And sometimes you back them into a corner. And, I'm not one of those people who like to be backed into a corner. But I always appreciate Brother Norris coming on here because, like I said, he got the experience. We may not agree with what he's saying, but hell, it's working. And I think he knows what he's talking about. So I don't have anything to say about that. Miss Smith, how you doing? By the way, said this is a good show tonight. Yeah, I think it's a good show. It was a little bit on the tight side. Some people are probably upset, and will we live to fight another day? Oliver, how you doing? It says Black America is 50, and he's talking about Sexy Red. That is in her early 20s. Why? I mean, I'm just saying.
Because I have. So let me explain to you. When my sons were younger, right? Now I love hip hop, but so when my son was like, "Oh, Dad, let's listen to this." So I put it on, and so I threw the CD out of my car. And so he was like, "Why would you do that?" I say, "We will not listen to that nowhere around here. It won't be no Lil Wayne. You're going to stick to Scarface, some LL Cool J, some Ice Cube, even some Eazy-E. We are not going to listen to somebody who is perverting rap." Okay. I have daughters that are in their 20s, and they may listen to it, and even the lady of the house may listen to it. They all love that FNF, but they know when they come to the house, it gets no play. Don't play it around here with me. And once again, I run a club. I'm in a biker. I'm a biker. I run a biker club. I hear this stuff all the time. I see these girls all the time. It's not nothing. I don't like it, but it is what a multitude of the women like, the younger women, should I say.
But, and I want to say this, and we're going to get out of here, Lord. We've been here almost 3 hours. I'm going to say this. Most women that got, I would say this. I mean, there might be some classy women in a motorcycle bar, but, I wouldn't be in no motorcycle bar. I just would not be in there. So yeah, you probably gonna find a rough,
You would have a great time. You would actually get to let your hair down.
I believe you, but a biker bar is not somewhere I would really want to be. I'm sure there's a lot of great individuals in there. It just wouldn't be my speed per se. Deanna says, wasn't Eazy-E talking about beating women and degrading women? How's he better than Lil Wayne? Somebody made that comment. I don't know.
It has to do with context. Okay. When we were growing up, like I said, I don't know how a lot of these people came up, but when we came up in the streets. I was in Los Angeles, South Central Los Angeles. That was our life. And things that kind of music were telling stories. They were you LL Cool J, your Big Daddy Kane, your Ice Cubes, your Eazy-E's. They're actually telling a story of what was happening in the neighborhood, helping you either deter you from it or giving you information of how to do what you're doing. It's a huge difference of the music if you listen to it.
Yeah, okay. Dan said, then they contribute to degrading women in rap to NWA. They absolutely did. They they absolutely did. I mean, to say that they didn't is a lie. The NWA was always on the hook for degrading women. They just weren't. I mean, that's not a secret. You can listen to the music. Donovan, you shaking your head, but I mean, you can listen to the music. We can't hear you.
Women have been degraded since we've been on this planet. Like I don't think NWA is the first people to call a woman the B word.
I don't
Like,
think
I mean, I've heard that.
First.
I've
Nobody's
heard that.
saying they were first. We're just saying that it's known that that's what they were charged with. Nobody's saying they were the first. We're just saying that's what they were known for. Some of their music, right? I mean, we could. I'd play it. I don't want to get in trouble, but I mean, I don't think I don't even know why we're disagreeing with that. Come on.
No, I don't think we're disagreeing with it, but what I'm trying to say is the things that we seen growing up, they were telling you about our lives in the neighborhoods. And once again, we didn't come up with the word bitch. We didn't come up with the word the N word or any of these other words that people say may be derogatory. None of us did. I mean, you listen to some of those old Red Fox, when we were young, they would have the old albums, the Red Fox and the Richard Pryors and all of that stuff. All the old Ohio Players and all of those albums. All of this stuff was already in the pipeline. It's just a different form. It's just like Mr. Norris, how Mr. Norris sees his woman and how a man today who loves and cares and sees for his woman. It's the same, but it's a different generation of the same.
Right. So yeah, again, I agree with that's not new as far as NWA, but I don't know if it was you, Black America, that brought them up, but Black NWA they had some pretty interesting lyrics in regards to women. It's just a fact. I see as a tarot reading person on here. I wonder if they could see me blocking them. Let me see. They're gonna be blocked. Did they see that one coming? Okay. And master teacher, let me see. I like what you said. You said raise kings and queens, only date kings, queens, and behave as kings and queens. I totally agree with you. 100% agree with you. No arguments for me there. Black America says Facts Not Feelings says if you want to know if your wife truly love you for those 35 years of marriage, put her in front of the lie detector test. We all saw what Kurt Franklin just went through with the 70-year-old mom. But that what that got to do with Brother Norris? And Master Teacher says not since all time. That's BS. So you're saying that hasn't happened from the beginning of time. All right, so let's see here. We're gonna get out of here because a lady, I'm seeing the lyrics you put up there. Brother Sam, you say the bigger things rappers need to do, making excuses for selling out the money for the money, but to paint a picture of how it should be. Yeah. I wonder if they saw that. It was somebody on here talking about they was reading tarot cards and stuff like that. So anyway, King Joe, we appreciate you being here as well. We're about to get out of here. As y'all can see, I have lost my damn voice. Lucky y'all. Thank you, Miss Sweet Talk. Great discussion. So anyway, on the show is right, is tight. We're gonna fight. We're gonna argue, and we're gonna have some heated discussions. But at the end of the day, it is all love. Please come back again to see us tomorrow. If you're froggy, if you're brave enough, come back and see us tomorrow at Wealth Wednesdays. I'm sure we'll have an interesting topic. They done came back up in here. Now you should have saw that one coming too. Block. Oh wait, let me block them. Okay, there you go. So yeah, we gonna be back tomorrow. Hey Dave, how you doing? Back tomorrow with another great discussion. I love you all dearly. You guys, please have a great rest of your evening. We will see you tomorrow. Peace.